Okay. All right. You guys ready? This meeting is being held in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. An adequate notice of this meeting has been published in the Union County Local Source and the Newark Star Ledger. Said notice is posted in the municipal building and a copy is on file with the office of the borough clerk. Fire exits are located in the directions I'm indicating. If you are alerted for a fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Proper notice having been given, the borough clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of the meeting. Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Signorello.
Here.
Councilman Robina.
Here.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Here.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
Mayor Signorello.
Here.
All present, Mayor.
Please lead us in the opening prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in our dangers and sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no communications for review this evening. We do have two presentations, which I'm just going to kind of mention. So first off, I want to recognize that this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. Obviously, keep that in your thoughts this month. I will quickly read this off. Whereas mental health is part of an overall health that helps to sustain an individual's thought process, relationships, productivity, and ability to adapt to change and face adversity. Whereas mental health changes adversely affect those abilities and is often life-threatening. And whereas 1 in 4 people experience mental health problems in a given year, and such problems can contribute to the onset of mental illness, and approximately 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins at the age of 14, and 3/4 by the age of 24, and whereas early identification and treatment can make a profound difference in the successful management of mental health, recovery is possible with help and early detection through many local affiliate support groups for teens, adults, and families. Whereas it is important to maintain good mental health practices and learn the symptoms of mental health challenges, and whereas public education and civic activities can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness, now therefore I be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Joe Signorello, the Borough of Roselle Park, and the County of Union in the State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month in the Borough of Roselle Park. I encourage all citizens to increase their understanding of the importance of mental health and stigma-free treatment of mental health challenges. And then Councilman Urbina has been a big advocate for biking in town, so I'm going to let him speak about that a little bit later during his update. May I have a motion to approve meeting minutes pending any corrections?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have closed session, but I don't think either one of our closed session attorneys are here yet. Is that right? Okay, got it. So we're going to postpone that. May I have a motion to open the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
If you'd like to come up and speak on agenda items, you may do so now. Okay, fair enough. A little early.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Anna Antonson, Bender Avenue. I see part of the agenda is a report of the construction official. I attended a development meeting earlier, and my understanding is that Boterra is proposing a recreational
Boterra is not on the
marijuana-
agenda tonight, ma'am.
Well, for the construction official report about
Is this relevant to the agenda?
about the 20 parking spaces that Roselle Park, they were calling for 20 parking spaces.
None of this is on the
To
agenda.
be leased from the Roselle Park Municipal Building, where Boterra has 0 parking
None of this is on the
spaces.
agenda.
Well, under the construction official's report, wouldn't that go under construction and development reports?
I
mean,
don't think it's specifically mentioned on the agenda.
It would have to be in his report, which I don't believe it is.
It's a written report. I don't believe we have copies of the written report, so you would have to tell me if it's included.
Ma'am, if you'd like to come up and talk on the second public portion on this, you may do so, but this is not on the agenda.
Okay, I'll come back to ask the same question.
Absolutely may. If anybody would like to come speak on agenda items, you may do so now. All good. I have faith.
Bill Cross at 412 Galloping Hill Road, on the sewer settlement.
Yes.
Just would like to get some clarification. $4 million settlement over 11 years. Last time I was here 4 weeks ago, a comment was made that our sewer bills for this year at least would double or more.
Yes.
Is that the assessment that goes to each owner, and does it last all 11 years?
I will defer to Ken. The one thing that I can say is, so our plan and what's baked in this is a capital project to remove ourselves from the Elizabeth sewer system. So that fee would be what we owe to them prior, which, you know, we've come to an agreement on, and what we owe them in the interim, right, as being part of their system. But theoretically, when we're disconnected, we should be paying Elizabeth nothing, to answer your question. I don't know if, Ken, there's anything you need to add to that.
No, as of right now, I mean, we'll review the rate every year based on billings and what we need to do, but for this year, it is doubled, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, anybody else want to come up and speak on agenda items only? Yep.
How you doing? George Ramirez, East Clay Avenue.
Yep.
Let's see, ordinance 2782, when it comes to the building and construction. I see here something about roofing and siding. You guys are charging a charge for that? I thought the laws changed where you don't need a permit for roofs or siding on a house.
I'll defer to Andrew on that.
So that is true. It's ordinary maintenance for the most part. In certain categories of work, usually more in industrial uses and high-density housing uses, there's still permits required. But for regular residents, there would be no permit required, no fee.
All right, but it says here R3 and R5.
Right, so those would be those higher density, higher intensity uses.
But a R3 would be a multifamily or a single family.
I couldn't tell you offhand.
Yeah, a R3 could be a single family house, just as zoning.
It's not, though. It's not. So a permit is not required for ordinary maintenance. For a single-family house, siding is ordinary maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
And just to be clear for the public, the amendments to this ordinance were based on a routine audit provided by the DCA on our ordinance. We last updated it in July of last year. These were their recommendations for our current ordinance updates.
Okay. Would anybody else like to come up and speak on agenda items only?
Hannah Antonsen, on Bender. I did have a question about the salary ranges. Some of these salary ranges are pretty broad. For instance, CFO from $45,000 to $200,000. Assistant treasurer, $40,000 to $90,000. Police chief from $75,000 to $165,000.
Sure.
Can you tell me where we are in the range right now? And what exactly goes into determining how far up to the maximum salary scale that it will go? I mean, these are very significant differences.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, a couple things. So, I mean, there's a number of factors that go into it, right? So one is tenure, how long you've been doing the job. There's obviously year-over-year raises. Off the top of the dome, which ones are you asking specifically about?
CFO, between $45,000 and $200,000. Where are we now?
Kenneth, how much are you making?
160.
Yeah, turn the mic on.
I think 163.
Okay. And where does that land on
At
the range?
$163,000?
Yes.
And where does that land on the ranges in terms of averages for Union County?
Probably in the middle.
Okay.
And what about where are we on the range for the assistant treasurer, between $40,000 and $90,000?
What is,
Off the top of my head, she is in the low 60s, I believe, off the top of my head.
And for the CFO, what was your starting salary?
In 2006? Is that your question? In 2006, when he was hired?
We can start from when he was hired. I'd like to see where the jumps are, where the main jumps are. How about 4 years ago? What was your salary?
So,
I
ma'am, I'm
don't
just
remember off the
I'm
top
just
of my
gonna stop you for a second. So, you're going into way more detail. This is a range that is required to be published.
It's a notification so that if they want to go higher or they want to replace someone, this is the range they get to pay those with. If you have specific questions regarding, and Andrew will not like my question or my suggestion, you really should open that, right? To go through a person's history year after year, and so if
So
you
what-
have a specific question as to a person's starting salary and how they progressed over the years, you are free to submit an Oprah request as to that person's salary. Every public official who works for a government, their salary is public information. No one's hiding anything or doing anything, but I don't want someone to misstate a number based upon what they thought they might have gotten paid, and then you come back and say, you said X, and I found out it's Y. That's not fair to anyone up here.
I'm not trying to say that that's happening. My question is, why such a great disparity? And say, for instance, in the last 4 years, what has the increase been?
So I can speak to that, Mayor.
Sure.
So broadly speaking, across the board, we've used a 2% increase as a standard for non-contractual employees. Now that there have been deviations to that, and if you'd like to know that information, it can certainly be provided to you. I don't have every number of every employee right now. Over time, there's been jumps and starts depending on performance and a variety of other issues, economic and otherwise. I will say this, and it may not be the answer you want or like, but it is the truth. The salary ranges for government employees in Roselle Park and beyond are not as scientific as you think, right? It's a broad range on purpose. So if we were to hire a part-time CFO, it would be a much lower number, right? You'd be closer to the 45,000. If you have a full-time CFO like we do, Mr. Blum's paid somewhere north of $160,000, right? Having been here since 2006, he's a full-time employee of the Borough of Roselle Park. So you have that kind of, range to work with. Not all the time do we amend the lower end of the range. We usually keep the lower end where it is, unless there's a reason. For example, hourly rates, we change the lower end when the minimum wage increases, right? So you'll see every year we do the amendment, the lowest number cannot be less than the statutory minimum wage. So it's not as, there's not as much thought that goes into the ranges as the actual salaries themselves, which can be provided.
I'm not too concerned about the minimum wage of $15.13 apparently, but for instance, the construction code official between $50,000 and $170,000.
Right.
These are huge disparities, and these are pretty high salaries.
But when you say disparities,
Between 50 to 170, and 170, it's a high salary.
Right.
160,000 is a high salary.
so just the last thing I'll say is that you have that disparity, right, between low and high, because you could have a situation where we enter into a shared service agreement, or we change a full-time position to a part-time position. So in lieu of going back and amending this range constantly, which is both costly in time and money to amend ordinances, we standardize a very wide range so we have those options.
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to come speak on agenda items only?
Milt Woodruff, Roselle Park, Bender Avenue. I just looking for a little clarity in reference to the issue we were just talking about. How many non-union employees do we actually have? Any idea?
A few, 4, 5?
No, non-union employees?
Non-union.
We have quite a few. I couldn't tell you the number unless Ken could. Not right now. I don't know.
Well, how many union employees do we have?
We have
32 cops.
we have 34 police officers, but I couldn't tell you that number accurately right now either.
Now, you seem to be suggesting, I understand how the range thing works, because in my prior career, I worked for the state, so there was a range. It seemed like you were implying that the average increase that people would get would be roughly 2%?
Roughly,
Or
yes.
that would be negotiable?
For non-union,
Non-union.
for non-union year over year, it would be negotiable. For union contracts, it's collective bargaining.
But with the non-union, what would it generally be?
Our standard over time, and again, there's been deviations over the last, say, 5 years, has been roughly 2%.
All right. Under Resolution 123-24, we are going to receive $19,000 from the National Opioid Settlement.
Yes.
Do we have any plans to use that for its designated purpose?
You want me to answer?
Yeah.
We do, we're crafting plans to use that. It'll most likely be used through our Municipal Alliance program, which targets education through the school system. So it would be additional programming that's provided through the Municipal Alliance.
So that will take care of, hopefully, with the drug problem we presently have? So
It's
some of that money
not really targeting a drug problem. It's more the educational component.
We also, I noticed that we have a redevelopment plan for those properties on Westfield Avenue. What sort of plans do you have for those?
It's not on the agenda.
No, it is.
It is?
There's a resolution, 13124 is an increase to the contract with the redevelopment attorney.
Which one is this
I'm
one?
talking about the residential property. I'm questioning the increase, I'm talking about what the town plans to do.
Correct.
with these properties.
And the answer to that question, sir, the answer to that question is, at this stage, it's a study, it's not a plan, so there is no plan yet. It's a request to study to see if that area qualifies. If it makes it past that hurdle, then we would be at the point where a plan would be developed. But at this point, the plan is not a factor.
All right, fine, thank you. Also, the other question I have is reference to the marijuana function on the breakwater on Westfield Avenue.
Is there anything breakwater related on the agenda? Not on the agenda.
Not on the agenda?
No.
No. All right, thank you for you. I do have one other item, a suggestion anyway.
If it's not on the agenda, you can talk about it in the second portion. Anybody else want to come up and speak on agenda items? What's it about? Not on the agenda. Are trees or sidewalks specifically on the agenda?
Wait till the second.
You can wait till the second, there's a second portion where you can talk about anything. Okay? Okay. Anybody else on agenda items only? I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Unfortunately, we need to close up for a closed session. May I have a motion to move out of regular order for the closed session?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There are two items for the closed session. Mr. Clerk, please read the closed session resolution into the record.
Mr. Mayor, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Roselle Park wish to discuss matters which are described by the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12, and whereas the general nature of the subjects to be discussed in closed session are ongoing litigation, City of Elizabeth versus the Borough of Roselle Park, and a matter of attorney-client privilege involving affordable housing, and whereas the time when and the circumstances under which the items discussed in closed session will be disclosed to the public at a future time, now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of Roselle Park and the County of Union State of New Jersey do now adjourn the open portion of the meeting and open a closed portion of the meeting to discuss the aforementioned item.
So just for everybody's record, because this has to do with litigation, we're going to have to kick everybody out for a little bit, where we'll have the closed portion. Once that's done, you'll all be let back in for the remainder of the meeting, and then we'll have a second public portion, should you guys choose to join that. So,
I need a motion to adopt
do I have a motion to
the closed session
adopt
resolution.
closed session resolution?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
Bayonne Police Chief makes a year?
250.
265.
Jesus Christ.
Of the state of New Jersey, there's always 3 people from Bayonne at the top.
And
Every year.
oh, by the way, they get
Rogers.
state benefits too, right? Like state benefits are no joke.
Red was up there for a while. He got knocked off like a couple years ago.
Yeah, because he's an old timer now.
They retire with 70%. That's it.
At,
that math.
like,
They get-
and when do they retire? What age?
The one guy went when he was 50.
I picked the wrong career.
And you don't pay on that. You don't pay Social Security and other stuff.
Let me know when you're ready.
I picked the wrong career. Okay.
Mayor? Yes, you picked the wrong.
Yes. Okay, may I have a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, in closed session, 2 items were discussed: the City of Elizabeth versus the Borough of Roselle Park, and a matter of attorney-client privilege involving affordable housing. The matter of attorney-client privilege, there's no action to be taken this evening. The ongoing litigation settlement proposal will be considered by the governing body on the consent agenda as part of resolution number 13324.
May I have a motion to accept the reports of departments as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There are no ordinances for second reading this evening. Mr. Clerk, please read ordinance number 2780 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2780 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending Chapter 40, Section 3005 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Driveways.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2780 for introduction, refer the same to the Municipal Land Use Board for review, and fix a date for second reading and public hearing as June 20th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Thank
Paul?
you. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Excuse me, Mr. Andrew, thank you.
I am the clerk.
Please call the roll.
Good job.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Please read ordinance number 2781 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2781 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2760, fixing the salary ranges of non-union employees and officials of the Borough of Roselle Park in the County of Union, State of New Jersey.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2781 for introduction and fix the date for second reading and public hearing as June 6, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Please read ordinance number 2782 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2782 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending Chapter 16 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Building and Construction.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2782 for introduction and fix the date for second reading and public hearing is June 6, 2024? Is
So moved.
Second.
there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Okay, all matters listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Andrew, please read all resolutions on the consent agenda by title.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 12024 is authorizing the hanging of a two-sided banner in Michael J. Morey Park advertising the 2024 Feast of St. Anthony and the placement of 5 lawn signs advertising the 2024 Feast of St. Anthony on any borough property without restriction as it pertains to location, to be placed no sooner than 2 weeks prior to the event and to be removed the day after the end of the event. Resolution 12124 is authorizing the partial closure of William Street at the request of Dowling's Irish Pub and Restaurant for a grand reopening event where alcoholic beverages may be consumed on public property. Resolution 12224 is authorizing an amended and restated lease agreement with Octagon Edge Towers LLC for certain property upon which a communications tower and related improvements are situated. Resolution 12324 is approving the insertion of a National Opioid Settlement Fund grant as a special item of revenue in the 2024 municipal budget in the amount of $19,250.40. Resolution 12424 is accepting the 2023 municipal audit report Resolution 12524 is approving the corrective action plan for the 2023 municipal audit. Resolution 12624 is authorizing an amended and restated employment agreement with Andrew J. Casillas as municipal clerk. Resolution 12724 is eliminating the salary of Andrew J. Casillas as Chief Administrative Officer, Assessment Search Officer, and Municipal Housing Liaison. Resolution 12824 is approving the submission of a grant application and authorizing the mayor and borough clerk to execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for improvements to Pershing Avenue. Resolution 12924 is approving the submission of a grant application and authorizing the mayor and borough clerk to execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for bike path expansion and improvement. Resolution 13024 is authorizing the chief financial officer to issue interim payments during July and August 2024 to ensure the continuity of government operations. Resolution 13124 is authorizing a $1,000 increase to the professional services contract with McManaman, Scotland and Bauman LLC for redevelopment council services associated with the condemnation redevelopment study of Block 608, lots 1.01, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24.01 of the municipal tax map of the Borough of Roselle Park, commonly known as 107 Filbert Street, 110 Chestnut Street, 1 West Westfield Avenue, 5 to 9 West Westfield Avenue, 11 to 13 West Westfield Avenue, 15 West Westfield Avenue, 21 West Westfield Avenue, 33 West Westfield Avenue, and 37 to 39 West Westfield Avenue, along with all streets and rights-of-way appurtenant thereto, reflecting a revised contract amount not to exceed $11,000. Resolution 13224 is granting permission to the Roselle Park Soccer Club to operate a social affair permit granted by the New Jersey Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control in Michael J. Morey Park as part of the Borough of Roselle Park's 2024 Juneteenth celebration. Resolution 13324 is authorizing a settlement agreement between the Borough of Roselle Park and the City of Elizabeth. And Resolution 13424 is memorializing the Borough of Roselle Park's requirement to permanently close the existing median opening on New Jersey Route 28, located at the intersection with Filbert Street.
Okay, so I'm going to pull 121 and 133. Are we pulling anything else?
Yeah, you can pull 128.
Yes, sir. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the resolutions remaining on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 121-24?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yep, I knew it, so that's why I pulled it. Yeah.
I specifically, number one, I definitely, with the grand reopening of Dowlings, first off, we definitely are cheering them on, welcoming them to our business downtown, and it's exciting, so definitely go, because that's going to be happening on Saturday. This was a last-minute request, so I just want to say that last-minute things like this and closing a street, I'm concerned for the other businesses, I'm concerned for the parking, I'm concerned for the homes on the street. So this was something that was a little bit of a shock that he requested with such short notice. So I personally had an issue with it, to be honest. I'll just be very frank. But then at the same time, it is a grand opening, so I want to have grace and mercy towards it. But I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I think Councilman Johnson had a really good idea that I think hopefully can alleviate this. I was gonna tee you up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I share your sentiment, Ro. Definitely, there's logistical issues, there's public safety concerns and awareness. I did have conversations with Andrew, and I did a little research and with Andrew's assistance. And since we have the residents, since we do block parties and we already have the residents, the requirements there are already like about 30 days, if I'm correct, or a month?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. I just, at the minimum, I just would like to mirror that at the very least, because just logistically, it makes sense, staffing issues, all type of things. We're a small borough, so we're not like big like Cranford, Elizabeth, Westfield, so we don't have an abundance of employees. So, they may be working on other concerns, and that wouldn't just be fair or right. So it just makes sense.
Any further discussion?
So we'll draft the ordinance, and we'll be voting on that probably next week or next council meeting or
Sounds
future.
good.
So,
Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Ravina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor, the resolution is adopted.
Okay, may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 128-24?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Councilman
Yeah.
Johnson?
Yes, I just want to say this is another project that finally, when I first started running, wanted to get a lot of these streets done, but more importantly, I just wanted to thank Andrew because none of these grants or streets getting addressed couldn't be done without the assistance of Andrew. He's a major component in taking care of a lot of matters that we request as council. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. So the residents on Persian are happy that that'll be coming 2025. And so thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorella.
Yes.
Councilman Ravina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor, the resolution is adopted.
Cool. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 133-24?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I'm looking at my lawyers here. So we're voting on this tonight. Can I explain this to the public, what's going on here?
Now's the time.
Okay, got it. Cool. So this is probably one of the more difficult things that we've voted on as a mayor and council, and it is certainly not a fun thing, but I think try and look at the camera and look at everybody here as to what's going on. So on one side of town, the Elizabeth side of town, since 1904 when Roselle Park was incepted, we have had our stormwater run off to the city of Elizabeth. The borough of Roselle Park has a separate sewer system, so we have a sanitary waste system. Sanitary waste, you guys can Google it if you don't know what that is. And thank you. And stormwater, which goes into the stormwater, what do you call the things on the street? Why is my...
Basins.
So catch basins, thank you. Goes out, stormwater, rainwater, okay? Certain towns and cities have what's called a combined system, right? Which is frowned upon nowadays for obvious reasons, right? One water's potable and usable again, the other water is less usable, or takes a lot of processing to use. Our town, half of it runs out into the city of Elizabeth, which has a combined sewer system. The city of Elizabeth is monitored by the DEP on this, and they get overage charges because the DEP basically says, okay, you have 100,000 people, your discharge should be this much, and that's what you're allowed to have. Unfortunately, the DEP doesn't factor in the fact that probably about 1,000 houses in Roselle Park also outflow into the city of Elizabeth. Since 2015, the city of Elizabeth has looked for two things from Roselle Park, and not to pass the buck, but prior administrations, including this administration in the beginning, probably didn't move fast enough, didn't act on it. What they were asking for is two things. One is a separation from that system, right? So our own stormwater that goes directly out to whatever river, so we get off their system, and to pay them a fee because we go into their system and cause these overage charges. Was it last year?
The suit?
Suit.
Yes.
Last year, the city of Elizabeth brought us to court and said, you have to do this. Rather than going to court and spending God knows what in legal fees, fighting this in something that candidly we'd probably lose, and potentially being beholden to doing exactly what Elizabeth wanted to do, we are looking to enter an agreement we've come up with an agreement of a payment plan for what we feel like is a reasonable amount that we owe them. So their initial request was for the borough of Roselle Park to pay them $25 million in fees for past overages. We obviously thought that was ludicrous. We have negotiated down to a settlement of $4 million paid over 11 years. Still not fun, still not a small chunk of change. And then we've also agreed to, by 2029, build our own stormwater system that flows directly into, is it the Elizabeth River, I guess? The Elizabeth River. All of this is going to be expensive and is going to be reflected in your sewer bill. It's terrible. We haven't upped our sewer bill in 10 years. We're not allowed to legally up your sewer bill unless there's a good reason for it, and there's going to be a significant upcharge in that. This is nobody's favorite thing. We all pay sewer bills here. Once we're off, that sewer bill can be reduced. It was a good question by Councilwoman Lyons before. But until then, we owe them, and we will be paying them for this fee going forward, and we'll also have to pay for the disconnection. We feel like this is the best deal we could probably get out of it, based on legal counsel. We obviously haven't been able to talk about this because any pending litigation we can't talk about until it's public knowledge or we've come up with a settlement, and now we're here. So I think it's something that you guys should be aware of. It's something that we fought tooth and nail to get as low as possible. But we had two choices. We could either come to a settlement where we win part of it, or leave it up to the chance of the judges and pay a ton in legal fees, which is something that I think this council prudently probably doesn't want to do. The last piece of that I want to mention is if a judge were to rule on this, everything would be up to the judge's discretion, which who knows, right? Instead of $4 million, it could have been 8, it could have been 20. The rate could have been higher. But most importantly, the judge also could have said, this is the exact route that you need to take to get off Elizabeth's system, which has cost implications as well. We've come to an agreement with Elizabeth where we think we have an affordable way to get off their system, and we're going to do that by 2029. So with your sewer bill, there'll be a letter explaining this. Obviously, it's a big jump, but I thought for anybody who's watching and for everybody who's here, probably not about sewer, but about other things, you guys can pay attention to this too. That's the reason a lot of this is out of our hands. So did I miss anything? High-level stuff? Right. Right. So to our legal counsel's point, we have an 11-year payment plan with the city of Elizabeth. They could have just said, hey, you owe $20 million right now. We would have had to bond that and would have been miserable. Or just put it in the sewer bill. So I don't know if council has anything to add to this. I just thought now that kind of it's out in the open, it's best to start explaining this. Okay. Not the most fun thing to vote on, but Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Ravina.
Yep.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Unfortunately, yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
Okay, what a fun one. Reports of borough council and committees. Let's start off with,
Thank you.
did I miss anything? Thank
No,
you, yeah.
just saying.
Council President, you want to start off?
Sure. Okay, for the first time in a long time, I have no condolences for today, so I feel good. Okay. On May 4th, I attended the band car wash, which I try to do every year they have it. Like, you know, I always try to support the organizations, but I was there, and you know, from what I was told, they had a good day. The 15th, I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony at Casa del Rey. There's the new restaurant on Westfield Avenue. Last night, I attended the Fireman Memorial, which always brings back a lot of the people, firemen that I knew from past years, are on that list. And like I said, Councilman at Large, thank you for your service to the fire department. Very emotional. I know one of our firefighters, his father was put on for the first time, and I know it was very emotional for him. So, you know, it's a, like I said, very sad event. Then I went to the recreation meeting last night. Basically, we're winding down the end of the year. They're talking about doing things for next fall and everything. But again, Tina, thank you. Again, a great job. I always appreciate, you know, and everything like that. Today I attended the joint sewer meeting. We approved the insurance renewal. One of the big issues was the PMA that will be, that the joint sewer is going to hire, and this will save a lot of money during the workman's comp. Okay. They also approved Verizon, which we're going to have to replace pole and cable relocation. I know a couple of members were against it. They thought Verizon should do it for nothing, but unfortunately, they're going to charge you. So, and if you need to get me, you can get me at jpetrosky@rosellepark.net, 908-666-7821, and that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. I just want to acknowledge that I enjoyed myself at Councilman Jay's annual bike clinic and now tour. Thank you for lending me a bike and also letting me know that I'm out of shape, because that was a nice little ride. Also, I had a wonderful time joining members of the governing body at Casa de la Rey's ribbon cutting. The food was excellent, and I wish them good luck. Lastly, from my community events that I attended was the Roselle Park Fire Department Memorial Services. That event honored the bravery and sacrifices of past heroic firefighters who foster a very strong sense of community. That's what I get from that. It takes, a lot of courage to volunteer and to put your life on the line for free. So I just wanted to say kudos to those gentlemen. For my community announcements, please be advised that the Roselle Park Diversity and Inclusion Committee will be hosting its second annual Juneteenth Festival on Saturday, June 15th, between the hours of 5 to 9 p.m. There will be games, karaoke, live performances, special guests, food, and more. So mark your calendars and hope to see the community there. Proceeding, I would like to mention a special thanks to Roselle Park Hometown Heroes and Director Shaw on a job well done posting the banners honoring veterans past and present in lieu of Memorial Day, and I am truly honored as well to be up there with those heroes. Lastly, residents, I humbly ask you guys for your patience and understanding that some concerns simply may just take time to resolve. But that doesn't mean we or I are not working to try to mitigate those concerns. Unfortunately, there is a process, and we are serving multiple concerns at a time in the borough, some protected by due process. So unfortunately, there's different levels to government, and some things as a municipal councilman, there's only so much you can do. So please remember your voice matters. And as First Ward Council, I will always place the concerns of the residents within the borough of Roselle Park first. If you need to get in contact with me, please email me at gjohnson@rosellepark.net, or you can call me at 908-303-1519. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Lyons?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council and Roselle Park residents. I just wanted to just say that, this month, I can't believe it's May, right? So I did go to the ribbon cutting for Casa del Rey yesterday, and it's great to see just businesses coming into Roselle Park, and they are awesome. They have such a beautiful just venue. Definitely support them and go there for if you're having an event or just go out for a drink. It's awesome. I did attend the 85th year of the Fire Department Memorial Service, and it just brought me really just the quote that I love to say, that greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And it was just emotional, and knowing that, men and women from Roselle Park serve our community. It was a beautiful service. But other than that, there's a lot of things going to be happening. May 18th, like I said, grand opening for Dowlings. Please come out and support them. The Memorial Day service parade is on a Monday. Please come out. We'd love to see everybody there. And also, before we know it, the summer, like you you said, Councilman Greg, Juneteenth is coming on Saturday, June 15th. The Roselle Park Walking Club is going to be starting, hopefully if we have sun. The clouds really are really sticking through in New Jersey. And also open mic in July. We did it last year. It's going to be at the gazebo. It's on Wednesdays, starting after 4th of July. And also, don't forget 4th of July, it's going to be on July 1st. But other than that, I just want to say that it's good to see people come out. It's good to see your faces. I always say we love to hear your voices. I just personally feel division, and there should not be division. We are for you. We represent you. We want to hear you. I want to be that voice with a heart. But the division and the tension is not good for anybody, and it's not good for your hearts. So I just wanted to say it because I see it. And a house divided against itself cannot stand. So I personally felt that very heavy on my heart this morning. And I say that loud because we are a family, and if we work together, we can really continue to have Roselle Park as our hometown. I've been here all my life. My parents are from Italy, so coming here was huge, and I just want to speak from the heart for that. So I just want to tell you I appreciate you guys. Smile. I'm smiling back at you. And that's it, and that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Well said, Councilwoman. Councilman Patel.
Good evening. Yesterday I attended the ribbon cutting at Casa del Rey for the newly remodeled garden and the kitchen. Later, I attended the Roselle Park Fire Department 85th Memorial Service to honor our fallen members. The Environmental Commission has one community garden bed left for the rental. Please contact me or the Environmental Commission for more info. Stay tuned for upcoming opportunities for free spring produce from the community garden. The Boy Scout will host the second annual Wood Derby on June 8th. For more details, please contact me. And finally, Dowling's Irish Pub and Restaurant grand reopening is this Saturday, May 18th. And that concludes my report. Have a good night. K. Patel at rosellepark.net. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Rabina?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Roselle Park. Getting right into it. So it being Bike Month, I'm particularly proud of tonight's resolution, number 129-24, approving the submission of a grant application and executing a grant contract with the NJDOT for a bike path expansion and improvement. To be more specific on what that application entails, it's for a DOT grant to expand and improve the borough's existing bike and walking path along the Raritan Valley line, which presently extends approximately 1/2 mile from Galloping Hill Road, bordering Union, to Chestnut Street. It's the objective of the borough to improve the greenway and lengthen the path by an additional half mile path through the 5th Ward, and I've been advocating for this since joining council to increase the safe connectivity of the community from east to west. Improvements along the would-be mile-long stretch of bike and walkway would include lighting, landscaping, wayfinding, and various other aesthetic improvements. Jumping into infrastructure, in the 5th Ward, in my previous report, I had announced roadway improvements as part of the 2024 Capital Road Program. On Pine between West Sumner and West Roselle, along with Larch between West Sumner and West Roselle. We recently met with the vendor, and work is expected to formally commence on or about Monday, May 20th. Tree work will be conducted first, followed by concrete work, curbs, sidewalk, ADA ramps. Concrete operations will begin on Pine Street and Larch Street, where work will be more extensive. Once all concrete work is complete, the roads will be milled, paved, and striped. Weather permitting, substantial completion of this work is anticipated in June. The NJ Transaction Conference was earlier this month. This event is one of the largest for transportation advocates and engineers in the country. It covers a wide range of topics, including bus, rail, roads, bridges, goods movement, engineering, planning, pedestrian, bicycle, paratransit, community transportation, ports, and insights from state, regional, and federal partners. And I'm happy to say Roselle Park was featured. Rick Schaefer, the Senior VP of Capital Programs for NJ Transit, kicked off his presentation with the rehabilitation of the Roselle Park train station, mentioning it'll be fully ADA compliant, new platforms, canopies, elevator, signage, and communications. It will be advertised for the first quarter of next year for construction. Mr. Schaefer also noted that this is a high-interest project for transit. Feels like we've been talking about a new train station forever, but it's finally moving forward. So I'd like to thank Mayor Signorello, Senate President Scutari, and all the stakeholders for advocating to get this vital project moving. On the 8th, we had the county's Transportation Advisory Board meeting. During the report, it was mentioned the borough's first ever bike tour, bike helmet giveaway, and safety clinics to promote safe riding. Over 100 attendees joined for the ride and clinics, and the age range, there were children as young as 4 and a senior at 76 taking off the training wheels to balance on 2 wheels. It was a great event by all. We missed Rupin, but thank you to all who attended, all the partners who took the time to volunteer, Easy Ride, NJ Bike and Walk Coalition, Greater Union YMCA, Union County Connects, Union County Traffic Safety, RPPD, DPW, all the groups that worked and helped, and Councilman Johnson for joining and participating. At the TAB meeting, the Rahway Valley Rail Trail project was mentioned. Last year, the county was awarded $1.5 million in grants for this project. Here's the latest from the county engineer. Greenman Peterson, Inc., GPI, will be the design consultant, and their services will be paid and funded by NJTPA and NJDOT. Greenman Peterson and the DOT will formalize the scope of work, and they'll send their agreement to the county to proceed. So things are moving here too. Also discussed at the Transportation Advisory Board meeting was Locust Street. It's one of 4 roads left over from the county's 2023 paving projects. They are awaiting the schedule back from Smith & Sondy, the vendor. However, it is projected to be paved this summer from 3rd Ave and Roselle down to West Sumner Ave at the Union Line. Driving through the 5th Ward, I wish I had been informed about this ahead of time. There's been utility work the last couple of weeks on West Webster Ave between Locust and Larch. PSE&G has been relocating the existing electrical facilities across the street in order to eliminate the High Voltage Proximity Act violation with the new complex that's currently under construction. They're installing 12 new poles on the north side of the street and relocating the electric lines. The Public Affairs Manager says their Vegetative Management Department has called in a markout request and plans to grind the stumps from the trees that they removed in the next couple of weeks. Replacement trees will be planted in the fall. I've asked that our utility partners increase communication on large projects like these so residents and utility payers are aware and can plan alternate routes, especially near our schools, county roads, and transit hubs. Yesterday, I attended the ribbon cutting for Casa del Rey Kitchen, followed by the Fire Department's 85th Annual Memorial Service honoring fallen members. Congrats to Casa del Rey Kitchen on the name change, the beautiful renovations, and the new menu. Last night's ribbon cutting was fantastic, like most of my colleagues said here. And thank you for joining the Chamber. And regarding the Chamber, Mayor, thank you for your kind words in recognition of the Chamber Champion Award I received earlier this month at Galloping Hill. Glad to help connect the borough with the Chamber and bring these resources to help strengthen and grow our small businesses. Going back, these last few weeks, I supported the RPHS Band's Car Wash, attended the Aldine Arbor Day Planning, Meet the Borough event, celebrated Trails Day with Union County Connects, Mayor Sig, Kenilworth Mayor Karlovich, Commissioner Mirabella, and Councilman Johnson. I was at the Gordon Street Bridge ribbon cutting, the ribbon cutting for Comamos Pues, and the PD's Public Safety and Listening Session mid-April. On Saturday, I attended the grand opening of the community garden in the 5th Ward. If anyone's interested in volunteering, they could use a hand Saturday mornings. Email environmentalcommission@rosellepark.net or contact Councilman Patel. Thanks to the commission and volunteers for getting all the beds in the garden ready for the season. Monday, May 20th, will be the Municipal Land Use Board meeting for anyone interested. On the agenda is an application for a D1 zoning variance and site plan approval for Piece of Cake Moving Company at 172 and 180 West Westfield Avenue for furniture storage. Thursday, May 23rd, is a chili cook-off at the high school benefiting project graduation and the 8th grade graduating class. Starts at 5 p.m., ends at 7 p.m. It's $10 per adult, $5 per student. It's RPPD versus RP Fire Department. Any questions, reach out to Officer Jessica Cambronero. And lastly, I wanted to wish my son Isaac a happy first birthday. 5th birthday. Thank you.
Councilman Signorello. Thank you, Jay.
No problem. I was going to give my contact information.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Jay Rabine at rosellepark.net, 862-236-0019. Mayor, that concludes my report.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Short one tonight. I attended the grand opening yesterday at Casa del Rey. I'm happy with this, the apron, the driveway change, because a resident on Bender Ave came to me, and it just makes sense to change the ruling on how you need to redo your driveway if you do not have an apron. I'm happy my street was concreted up, and I have no more construction after the last couple of years, and I hope the folks on the 600 and 700 block of Woodland are happy with the change we have. And I can't believe it is 85 years of the Fire Department Memorial Service, and I think I've attended 43 or 44 of them, so that's pretty scary. So other than that, that's the end of my report. Need to get a hold of me, jsignorella@rosepark.net. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Councilman. So I am sure there's a lot of people for public portion that are going to talk about marijuana. So I'm going to dedicate my report talking about cannabis in Roselle Park. And if you guys want to talk about it, the time is yours. But I'm going to try and dispel some of the rumors and, talk about some of the questions you guys have in advance. And I'll keep my comments light if you guys come. So last year in November, we approved 3 conditional uses, up to 3 licenses for Class 5 retail sale of marijuana, cannabis. There have been 3 applicants. One of them is an existing business, Breakwater, which is over by the McDonald's. They are building a new building. For anybody who thinks there's going to be 2 there, there's not going to be 2. They had a temporary house there. The new building that they're building is going to accommodate all their new facilities as well as office space up top. For those people who are wondering why it's so big, it's because there's going to be office space up top, which is good for the town. Personally, I'll talk about all these things. I'm especially in favor of that one because we've had them operating since, when do we do medical cannabis? 2021? They've been fantastic operators without a hitch since 2021. So that's 1 license. There is a second license over on the other side of town on Westfield Avenue that we had a land use board on. That is currently being challenged after the land use board. I'm not going to talk much more about that, but for anybody who has issues with that, I understand, I hear you, I get it. There's not much that can be done beyond what's going on in the land use board now and what's going on with attorneys right now. Totally up to that, right? There's going to be another application in June, also on Westfield Avenue, closer to the center of town. We made these licenses conditional, right? And what a conditional license means is you are not awarded a license unless you have land use board approval. And the reason why we did that is because nobody's hiding anything. Nobody has hid anything. We've talked about this openly. We voted on it openly. We advertised it like everything else. And we did this on purpose because we could have just done normal acceptance, which potentially didn't need to go to the land use board, so people could come to this. So if you have an issue with that upcoming thing, feel free, use your time, speak your mind on this. But I would encourage you to come to that, I believe, it's the 3rd Thursday in June. What's
June 17th.
June 17th would be the land use board meeting. It's right here. Board, I'm one of the members of the board. Jay's one of the members of the board. Nobody else is voting on that besides potentially me and Jay. And I say potentially because candidly, I don't know if we're voting for this as a zoning board or a planning board. It's really, really legal, minutia that we don't need to get into right now. But there's a 7-person board or a 9-person board. I would encourage you to come there. Video, I put it on Facebook. And if those don't get approved, they don't get approved. There is nothing else that mayor and council can do at this point aside from, in the future, reducing potential applicants or creating more. I can tell you right now, I'm not in favor of creating any more. If there are applicants that do not pass this year, when the time is up, their conditional license is, I believe, till the end of the year. Is that correct, Andrew? If those businesses do not pass, I got to be honest with you, I'm in favor of reducing the licenses accordingly. Right, thank you, yes. The other thing I want to add on top of that is this is a yearly license, right? I say this over and over again. There are many concerns about people smoking outside, people acting inappropriately outside. These licenses are given year by year at the behest of this governing body, just like we do with liquor licenses. And we haven't had to do this in a long time in town, but other towns, when there's been bars that have issues, liquor licenses have been revoked. Our licenses for marijuana, cannabis are even more stringent, right? So what I want to say is, this is additional transparency. If you guys feel like you didn't have the transparency before, you're getting extra right now. And part of the way we set this up was so there are a couple bites at the apple, right? Maybe people are upset that enough people weren't notified for the initial application. I apologize if you feel that way. We did that within the legal limits or the legal requirements of 200 feet. It's 200 feet, right? Right? Same thing will happen for any further applications. And once again, there's no other action for council to take. As a matter of fact, and I don't want to speak too much out of school, I think if council were to try and take any action right now to potentially limit the licenses, I think we might have more adverse effects legally potentially then, right? Because there's people who have invested, who have paid for the application. All of a sudden, we take that away from them. Maybe they've invested in it. I think there's a legitimate lawsuit they would have against the borough. Is that a fair assessment?
That's fair.
Yeah. So we need to let these things play out. If you're upset about it, please come speak your voice, right? No hiding there. Come again. What I really want to say, and where I really get my Italian going, is I will take the heat for anything that you guys out there watching on Facebook here, cracking a smile there, thank you. Anything that I've actually done, I will take the heat for, and I will defend my record on any day. And I will espouse what I think is right about it, what I think is wrong about it. What I will not stand for is misinformation out there. There have been 3 licenses, up to 3 licenses issued, all conditional, subject to approval, further approvals. There have been no additional licenses approved. And there's been not even considered this year beyond that, right? And again, I'm repeating, if these things don't go through, as a matter of fact, we'll probably peel it back. This has been a trial run. There are no groweries planned for Valley Road. I don't know where somebody got that from. Just like, I guess this is the time of year because there's no gap in election time. Last year I heard that I was going to be putting in basketball hoops in Acker Park. That came out of nowhere. This notion that there's going to be something on Valley Road, there's thriving businesses there. I don't know of any empty spots there. So what I want to say is, this is a long process by design, and part of that process is playing out right now. If you guys don't like it, again, let's hear it. Go for it. But the time to really speak your voice is at those land use board meetings where a thumbs up, thumbs down will be given. The last thing I want to say specifically on the next one that's on the land use board is, yes, there's a parking requirement for every Class 5 usage. I think we kind of overshot it when we passed the bill, but it is what it is. We required 35 parking spots. As you all know, and I'll remind everybody, because I grew up here too, I grew up in this town too, just like everybody else who here is upset and claims, the rage about our beautiful downtown and beloved downtown being destroyed. I watched our beloved downtown get destroyed. I sat here, in my 20s, in my teens, watching this fall apart. There is a proposal on the table to allow for a potential applicant, if they pass, to rent up to 20 spots there specifically for that use. For anybody who is up in rage about this, I will make this comparison over and over again to liquor stores. How long up until this year did the liquor store downtown rent out our parking spots? 5 years?
At least 20 years.
More. I run the meeting, you're out of order, and I can extend myself as long as I like. Thank you, though. It's just inappropriate. There is no decorum here. Thank you. Anyway, there is no giveaways in this town, okay? How much is the fee for a yearly license for a parking spot?
I'd have to look. It's thousands.
Right. So whether you like
Per
it
space.
or you don't, these items would be paid for, right? And the borough would profit from that. So again, this is focused on this because I know there's a lot of anxiety about it. I understand the fear, but I can promise you as a town, we've experienced worse, okay? Because what makes me sick every time I drive up and down Westfield Avenue is seeing a Family Dollar okay? Because family dollars are actually detrimental to the town, and there wasn't one person who came up and spoke out against that. What family dollars do, everybody wants to talk about having a restaurant in town or having a coffee shop in town. Family dollars are leeches on this town. They underpay their workers, they undercut small businesses like Chestnut Hill and run them out of town. I've watched our downtown decay, okay? And I would not be in support of anything that I think would decay our building, our downtown any further. I watched our downtown sit empty for 2/3 of my life, okay? I've seen it, okay? And I don't want to see us go back there. So once again, discourse is fine, discourse is good, lies are despicable, but this process is set up so when the land use board comes, if you have an issue there, you can be there and you could speak your mind just like you could speak your mind tonight when you're called. Thank you. Mayor Signorella at Roselle Park, if you have any questions. Now, I will open the public portion. May I have a motion to open the public portion on any subject?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you may wish to speak, you may come do so now. Speak your name and address.
Hello. Frank Tress, 479 Raglan Drive. Thank you for your transparency. I love being sarcastic.
Yep.
Not.
I know when you're being sarcastic and when you're not.
Like you all right?
And I cut my hair for you tonight, Frank.
And it looks nice. You put on a suit.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting complimented at the beginning. I feel good. Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Yes, thank you. I'll do the political wave. Thank you.
Frank,
Thank you.
Frank.
A name and address for the record.
Go, Frank, just make sure your mic's on.
Okay.
The red light, is it on?
It's on. Is it on?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, Frank Trezor, 479 Raglan Drive. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
All right. We are going to spend $150,000 for a statue of a has-been basketball player who denies coming from Roselle Park and says he comes from Union? Is that true? Please tell me it's not.
So I can't comment on.
Why not?
No. We have $150,000 planned. No check has been cut yet. It would be for a basketball player who.
Why?
Who, when I spoke to, was very proud to come from Roselle Park.
Oh, please.
Okay.
Look, I'm going to be honest. No, I went down to Roseview. Very good place, by the way. Go there.
Fantastic. Have a good coffee.
Fantastic. Yep. Excellent. I asked everyone I ran into if they knew who Rick Burry was. No one said yes.
Yep.
They looked at me like I was nuts.
Yep.
It's a waste of money.
Okay.
A total. Put that money towards the sewer nonsense.
Yep.
Give us a break.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. You want to put a statue up of someone from Roselle Park? Trooper LaMonica. That man gave his life in the service of this state. He has a park, which is, I must say, it's disgraceful. It's not well kept.
Okay.
It isn't. All right?
LaMonica Fire Park?
Yes.
Okay.
I drove by the other, maybe they just didn't get a chance to clean it up.
Yeah. But noted. Thank you.
All right? It does not look good.
Yep.
To say the least.
Yep.
Did you see it? You're looking at me.
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'll take another look tomorrow, Frank.
No, I'm serious. I'm not joking.
I'm not busting either.
I'm not joking. Look, it doesn't look. But that's a hero.
Yep.
You don't go, and then say, oh, I'm from Union?
Elizabeth.
Come on. I understand you want to decorate and put things. I understand that.
Yep.
But for this guy, no. Okay? Seriously, come on.
I appreciate the feedback. It'll be taken into consideration.
I'm not, look, I'm being honest with you. Everyone I ran into, only one person knew who it was, and that's because she's involved in town.
Yeah.
Everyone looked at me like, who?
Let me ask you, do you know who Marconi is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put a statue of him.
So, but if somebody doesn't know who Marconi is, we shouldn't put a statue of him?
Not if he comes from town.
He had a business. I don't want to take up your time. You have any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Johnson, I'm very, very confused by you. Very confused. You just made, don't laugh, I'm telling the truth.
Go ahead.
All right? You just made a statement that you look out for your constituents. Did you take a survey of the residents to see who was in favor of this dispensary? You work for us. You work for us.
So just going forward, all questions need to be addressed to the chair, Councilman Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, did he do that?
You may respond if you like, Councilman Johnson.
No, you didn't. You don't have to respond. I know you didn't.
No, but
Turn your mic on.
I'm sorry. Me specifically, no, but the borough has, and I have.
No.
No, I don't represent the borough.
The
and you-
borough did the legal mailing.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, as my councilman, did you ask the residents about this? And the answer is no. I would have.
What ward you in, you said?
I'm in your ward.
Oh,
What ward you in?
the first ward.
Me too.
Okay.
So why didn't you go and ask the residents?
I never spoke to you about this.
I see no use in speaking to you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking you a question now.
Yeah.
You didn't do that. All right, now I'm going to ask you something, and it's going to sound sarcastic and underhanded,
No,
but it isn't.
Go ahead.
We have pay to play. Did you benefit from pay to play?
No.
Push for that?
No, actually.
Why'd you push for it?
Actually, why did I push for it?
Yeah.
Did you watch? Do you ever come to any of the council meetings?
From what
or watch
I
anything?
understand, you initiated it.
So Jim,
Am I wrong? You tell me I'm wrong.
Unfortunately, Frank, you can't talk, but Councilman Johnson can respond.
So I will respond. So no, I did not initiate it. Two, what was, no, I want him to act, what was the question?
Did you benefit
Did you
from it?
benefit
No,
financially?
so elect, you can look it up, it's public information.
Oh, that's what I'm asking you.
I'm answering your question.
We will.
No, hold on a second here.
Hold on.
Greg.
I wanna answer this question.
No, just real quick. This council is making decisions based on the merits of whether or not they're allowed to be there. A referendum passed in the state of New
Well, that's what I was
Jersey
about to get
that
to.
allows for the use of cannabis, right?
Thank you.
I'm
So
not
the implication
asking about
otherwise
that.
is
I'm asking
insulting.
about pay to play.
Mayor, if I may, I don't need that, thank you. Because I mentioned that online already. I said before, and I'll say it again. Had this been prior to the referendum, then absolutely, those notions, I would absolutely agree with you. But after that, the community is changing, okay? And you personally may not always agree, but guess what? 70% of New Jersey residents
I'm
voted for
talking about the
Excuse me,
first
you can't-
ward.
Unfortunately, Frank, I'm sorry, you can't speak.
All right.
Yep.
Yes.
Do what you do. Go like this when I can.
I just,
I'm not being sarcastic.
No, you're done. Your 3 minutes are up. I apologize, but he can respond. You can,
All right.
Yeah. So
Look, are you done?
No, you can't.
Oh, I thought he was done. I'm
done.
sorry.
Your 3 minutes are up, though. I'm sorry, Frank.
You said I could
4.
respond.
Huh?
You said I could respond.
no, he said I could respond.
Yeah.
Who's the I?
Huh?
Me.
Oh, okay.
He can respond.
He doesn't have to respond. We know.
Okay.
No, you don't know because all of those were propaganda. And this
Oh,
is
was
nothing
it?
more than propaganda and political propaganda
I
as
like
well.
you.
It's not true that I accepted any funds. Prove that. Do not make accusations like that.
That's not an
Hold on,
accusation. That was a
Frank,
question.
I'm sorry. Frank,
on.
I'm gonna have to ask you to.
Hold on.
Can you go back to your seat, please? I'll let Councilman John. I apologize, but I got to give everybody 4 minutes.
Hold on.
Got it.
Respectfully,
Understand.
do not make accusations like that. I too have family. Excuse me.
Frank,
I'm trying to
please,
answer-
please.
Not you, not you, sir. Someone in the audience said it was true, so I'm just debunking that. That's not true, and in fact, that's hurtful because I too have family in this community, and I don't like to be attacked like that. Okay, I'm not no big shot. I'm a small person, and I'm proud, and I appreciate that people elected me and re-elected me, and so I have always been transparent. I have videos out that said that I'm for the referendum. I have personally voted for the referendum. I have personally voted yes. Personally,
Pre-election.
and I don't have to tell you my vote, but I'm telling you because I'm not hiding anything. I'm not hiding.
Frank, I can't.
excuse
Frank,
me,
I can't.
And
Please.
respectfully, I'm not saying that your concerns don't matter, but you know what? Majority of the people reelected me, so they must think I'm doing a great job. So thank you.
Councilwoman Lyons, I know you wanted to add something. Please go ahead.
Honestly, I just want to say personally, I think Councilman Greg is a great man and a council person, and he's helped me personally. And the reason I'm saying it is because I just want you to all think, how many council meetings have you been to? Because I've been coming since I've been elected, and we've had 4 people come. And now, like I said, we want to hear you, but everything was public. The reason I'm saying is because I personally voted no. I didn't want it. But if you guys would have came last year, I'm not saying like it's null and void at this point, but technically it is. So I'm just saying, and Mr. Trezza, with all due respect, I'm saying it calmed down because last year was the time that everybody should have paid attention, right? I'm just saying. But going forward, like I said, going forward, we are a community. Come, because your voice does matter, the things that do come, but just know, even the mayor's heart saying, can I curse?
I'd rather you not, but you can, yeah.
If SHIT hits the fan, they're gonna do something to shut it down. Okay?
But, and Rosanna, just
So-
to piggyback on,
Go on.
it's not done, right? Like, there are other opportunities for public input. The first one that everybody's so riled up about is currently being challenged. Who knows if it ever sees the light of day? The next one that I'm sure other people are riled up about it's going to be, what was the meeting? June 17th. Come, that's
We'll
the
be
day.
there.
That's
Come
the
to-
day to vote. Land Use Board will vote. Next person, please. Anybody come speak, name and address. Yeah, sure. Oh, Bob, come on up. You want to come up next? Come sit over here. You're on deck. You're on the on-deck circle. You're talking about trees, not marijuana trees, so it's a nice change of pace. Oh, okay, there we go. Say something nice when you get up then.
70% of the population is too.
Just gotta turn the mic on.
There's a button.
Yeah, you gotta,
There's a
I hit,
Yeah.
you got it? Okay.
Okay, it's on now. Thank
There you
you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. I am here to talk about the problem with the marijuana problem in town here, with trying to put in distributors. You say you've told us all about it. I've gone to a few meetings, but I read the newspaper. I can't see why one of you could have put an article in the newspaper that we could have read that you're planning on putting in 3 marijuana distributors in town. They say it's in the section where they have all of
The ordinances, yep.
right? I'm 85 years old. If I had to read all of that, and most of it's garbage, I would never get any place. I mean, I got my sports page and all the rest of the news, which I do, and I read the Ledger every day, front to back. So I would have found out about it. But I didn't find out about it from any of you, or I found out from a flyer coming in the mail, which you could have done too. I don't think they cost too much to send out little flyers like that. I mean, I don't think it's $1 million, maybe a couple thousand. I don't know, probably only a couple hundred.
Yep.
And you could get a lot of distribution in the town. But that's not the thing. I'm just disappointed, not only in myself, because I don't come to enough meetings, but also I'm disappointed in you, the people who we elected to represent us and do the best that you can for us. Now, some of you may think it's a good idea. I don't. We have to work somehow to get rid of it if we can. Right way.
Yep,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and so thank you for your commentary, and there's 2 things I want to hit on that, and I don't want us to be here all night, but so first off, again, you have my commitment. If whatever does not pass this year, I will not be in support of going forward. So if everybody says all 3 don't pass this year, guess what? There's not going to be any going forward, right? Fine, you got that on the record, right? Got it. Yeah, right? So whatever. So if the one doesn't happen in the first ward, got it. That license, we'll pare down the licenses next year. If one of them, Breakwater, gets approved, and that's the only one, then we'll only pare it down to 1 license. Unfortunately, the die's been cast for this year. Where you can speak your mind is this year at the land use board meetings, right? And I think that's fair. Right, wrong, or indifferent. The other thing I'll say, and I've heard this argument a lot. We do a lot of things on council. Some people find them controversial. Some people find them non-controversial. I mean, look, last year our tax increase was $230 a house. It's a tough tax year, right? We had insurance going up, we had pensions going up, miserable. Nobody wanted to vote it on that budget. You know, should we have done a special mailer on that? Because that impacts a lot of people, and some people will get fired up. So I don't know where to draw the line. Personally, look, another thing, development is very controversial. When we did the Hunter Project, we advertised it just like we advertise marijuana, right? Like, these are things, I respectfully think it's very where does the line end? Do I need to do out special meetings when, we're potentially I'm adding curbing on Larch? Am I supposed to do a special meeting to add curbing on Larch? Like, I don't know where the line is, right? So I understand and I appreciate your sentiment. I think it's a very, very difficult thing to say, what do we have special attention to versus not? And that's where I stand on it. But I appreciate your commentary.
Mayor?
Yep.
So in my 3 years plus, the biggest meeting we had was we tried to do the sweeping.
Oh, my goodness.
And
It was double the amount of people here.
the sweeping, look, I'm gonna first one to say, we tried to do something, but we saw there had to be 90 people here to try to come up with a sweeping policy, to have this and that. Like, my pet peeve is we gotta sweep the streets. It is for aesthetics, but also when your roads flood, it's that stuff going in the sewers. So it didn't work out, and we pulled the plug, and there was people here for the sweeping policy. I'm telling you, 3 years and 4 months, the sweeping policy, you couldn't find a seat in the room. So we try our best to get out, and people here.
Yep.
So
Sorry, beat me up on trees now.
Good evening.
Yes.
My name is Janet Iriasti. I'm at 129 Avon Street.
Yep.
I have a concern that has lasted 10 years since we purchased the home.
Yep.
When we first moved in, let me start over. My home is the only house on Avon that has 2 mature trees.
Yep.
One tree is destroying the sidewalk.
Yep.
It was X'd out when we first purchased the property. They never cut it down.
Yep.
They fixed the sidewalk. Now, 10 years later, they have to fix the sidewalk again.
Yep.
Okay? The tree needs to come down.
Yep.
The other tree, the oak,
Yep.
the maple, I'm sorry,
Yep.
tore up my sewage line.
Yep.
I had to take a claim against my homeowner's insurance to have it fixed.
Yep.
They inserted a line after drilling.
Yep.
And after it cost me a lot of money.
Yep.
Had that replaced. Unfortunately, I had to put in a second claim maybe a year later. Therefore, they dropped me.
Yep.
So I had to find another homeowner's insurance company.
Yep.
It's costing me more.
Yep.
Those trees are costing me money.
Yep.
My apron has been destroyed because of the problem with the sidewalk.
Yep.
Everything's connected.
Yep.
So it's not just about patching holes.
Yep.
Let's take care of the whole problem. So when they do that street, Avon Street,
Yep.
I hope, my expectation is to have the trees taken care of and removed if they're a problem, because right now both trees are uprooting themselves.
So a couple things, and I appreciate your patience on this. I appreciate your frustration. If you guys think weed is controversial, I get maybe 1 call a month on marijuana. I get 75 calls on trees, right? So I promise you there's a lot of inbound we get, right? Not to mention we changed services. We privatized it last year. We are paving Avon. Is that correct? Yes. Right? So I just want to let you know, by state statute now, we're not allowed to take down healthy trees unless they're an imminent danger to somebody or they're dead, right? It's a statewide rule now, out of our hands. A lot of people don't like to hear it. It is what it is. That being said, as part of construction projects, especially if it's been marked, I'm going to ask Andrew to personally look into this before the pre-construction meeting. If it was already marked, there was probably something wrong with it and there was an oversight. The only thing I'm going to tell you, and look, as mayor, I've got a reputation for telling people what they don't necessarily love to hear, but I'm going to tell you the truth. We've gone through this about laterals and sewer lines over and over again. Every engineer tells us the same thing, and I'm going to say this in the most respectful way. A contractor will tell you what you want to hear, and the easy thing to punt it over to the town. These laterals cannot be broken by branches, right? They just can't be. What happens very often is, and I'm no expert on this, but I've learned over a couple of these things, if there is a hairline crack that already exists, then obviously it's a tree, right? The roots grow to it and can potentially expand it, but trees do not break those laterals, right? So very respectfully, I'm telling you, I think there's a little bit of
I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
I did see the video when they sent the video down into the pipe.
Yep.
I'm not fighting over that.
Yep.
That's not the problem.
Yep.
I took care of it.
Yep.
Better not cost me anymore.
Got it. So what I can promise you is we have a pre-construction meeting that'll come up when we do that street. I will make sure that this gets personal attention.
Thank you.
I beg your patience. for that, right? Because we had.
This month is 10 years that we purchased that property, so you had 10 years. I know
I've
it's
only
not
been mayor
on
for
you.
6. I've only been mayor
I
for
know
6.
it's not on
I only
you.
knew about it tonight, so I got it. You should have emailed me quicker. But I hear you now, and let us do this. If there's something that needs to be rectified, it will be rectified as part of that project. Andrew will personally look into it because he's in these meetings.
I was going to say, and I did say earlier when I was speaking with Councilman Johnson, there's a paper trail there's got to be.
Forward it over to me, and I'll make sure that it gets addressed.
I'll find out.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Like I said, trees are the most stressful thing I deal with. You got trees? Which kind of trees?
Forget about me.
How you doing?
How you doing, guys? Eugene Miola, 226 Sheridan Avenue.
Yep.
I have a few things, but small things. This settlement with Elizabeth.
Yes.
Is this going to alleviate the flooding that happens on Sheridan Avenue?
Very good question.
I could swim. I could take a canoe and go.
So, God, I forgot to say this. So one of the benefits is our pipes for the outflows are actually larger than Elizabeth pipes.
Correct.
So part of the reason why you get that flooding is it goes from, I think, 8-inch pipes to 4-inch pipes.
I know. I sat on the commission.
Right.
I know.
So when we go directly to the river, we will be doing 8-inch flow out fully.
That's fine.
So I'm getting a clap back there. That feels good. Nice.
It's just that, my wife and I say,
so yes,
you better move the car. It's going to rain tonight.
I can't tell you exactly how much it's going to help out, but a large part of why that happens is because it goes from this big a pipe to this big a pipe, and when we fix it, it's going to stay this big a pipe, and it's going to alleviate a lot of the issues there.
Okay.
All right.
That's one thing. I don't know how to say this. Mr. Johnson, being a man who sat in that chair, it's a thankless job sometimes, and you could do nothing right sometimes, even when you knocked yourself out. And I want the public to understand this. I was at the land use board meeting. I saw Andrew sit in that spot and take it on the chin all night, and I was about to say something when he cut the meeting. That's it, and no more.
Yeah, we had a lot.
And I said, I was going to go up there and say, respect the chair. Don't just scream at the man. It's tough. I mean, when you sit up there, and you're looking out. You go home at night with your head spinning. I don't know how I did it, but I would like the public to understand that sitting up there is no piece of cake. Mr. Through the chair.
Yeah, please.
Financial
CFO.
Officer, Mr. Blum. I don't know how you do your job. I couldn't do it. So when people say you get paid too much, I don't think you get paid enough. This is my personal opinion.
We pay him
being
enough.
being a man who sat in the meetings when you were there with the books this big, I don't know how you did it. As far as the other issues, maybe we could have, yearly budget meetings and stuff. Maybe that could be public. It used to be public upstairs.
We do publicly. They're open to the public.
It used to be. And it was closed.
Unless it's in committee. I mean, we do some committee meetings closed, yeah.
Okay. And, I just want the public to say, this marijuana thing, okay, the whole country is in the marijuana fad. I think it's 10 years from now, we're going to say, why did we do this? But right now, we have to deal with it. Let the wheels of justice go forward slow. It might be like a glacier, but it will go. It's got to survive.
Respectfully, I think it's heading in the other direction, but fair enough.
That's all. I wanted to come up here to say about somehow I feel sorry about the way that people speak at some of these meetings, screaming from the back at the land use board. Don't do this.
Eugene, and I appreciate the sentiment, and it's 9:08, and we normally don't go this late. We used to go till 11, but,
I know.
Yeah, you do know. Whatever. Don't cry for the mayor. I signed up for this. But, I grew up here too, right?
I know.
I live here too. I pay $12,000 a year in taxes, right? I'm not doing anything, and I have never done anything that I thought was going to be detrimental to my property values, to my town. I grew up here, right? And what I see is an opportunity for us to fill some empty buildings, and that's where I'm coming from. Simple as that.
Good enough.
Thank you, Eugene.
Thank you, Eugene.
Good night. Don't forget to go to the feast, everyone.
Done. I owe a donation to the feast. Whew.
No, you go. Go ahead. I'll wait. Ladies first.
It's a very nice sweatshirt. I have the same one. No, not that one. What do you got? Roselle Park Soccer? It's Seton Hall one I got. But I wore a tie for you tonight, Frank. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Rosemary Nadasky, 446 Henry Street. We do not need 3 dispensaries. We don't even need one. There's one on 22. There's one, I'm sure, in Elizabeth, if not 10.
Yep.
My grandson was an honor student in Roselle Park High School.
Yep.
He got a free ride to Stevens Institute of Technology. One try of marijuana started him on a downfall.
Yep.
It was somebody offering it so that he could calm down. Well, that got him into a whole group of people that did other things.
Yep.
And other things, and other things.
Yep.
Wound up in the hospital.
Yep.
Wound up going through 3 rehabs. Smart enough to stay away from opioids.
Thank God.
And also smart enough to pull himself up and get out of it. But it happens. And it happens to almost every single family.
Yes.
And if they say it doesn't, they're lying. So what you're trying to do to make money? No. It ruins lives. Because there are kids that will take it, and there are medical, that's fine. That's important.
Yep.
But recreational, no. We stopped smoking.
Some of us.
We stopped smoking. Are we smoking in this building at all?
Well, indoors, yes.
Never.
Yep.
I hope people that do smoke are smart enough to stay away from other people.
Yep.
But sometimes they're not.
Yep.
Well, there are people that live there, and they can smell the marijuana, and they don't like it.
Yep.
That is how I feel. And I think it's a shame that you did what you did, putting it in the legal section of the newspaper and expecting us to find out about it.
Yep.
I wouldn't holler at you. I am just ashamed of you. I'm ashamed that you didn't think of the other side. There's no money. That doesn't help those people. When we went to our first Naranan meeting with my grandson, the parking lot was full of kids going to this meeting. And I'm thinking to myself, what about the ones that aren't here? They don't need government's permission to go ahead and do it. They don't need that. And I'm ashamed of you guys.
Jerry Veltri, Raglan Drive. What this lady said is so true. This campaign about not having cannabis in town is very close to my heart. Family member of mine, my nephew, passed away. He didn't start on hard stuff. He started on pot. And it rolled on. And there's many that have. I feel so sorry for this woman whose nephew went bad or whatever, but my nephew passed away from it. So this is very close to me. Anyway, I have a couple questions. I had no knowledge of this 1 East Westfield Avenue proposed dispensary until the other day, when there was no mention of this in previous meetings. I remember at the first meeting that I went to, one resident, Frank Trezza, voiced his opinion and said, put this downtown, Wells Fargo Bank. Put it downtown where it belongs, in a commercial area, not in a residential area. And here we go. They applied for an application to be at the old Wells Fargo Bank.
Yep.
I don't agree with it.
Okay.
It's a bad look. Other question is, would the mayor and council and Councilman Johnson from our ward be willing to have a meeting at the professional building parking lot with nearby residents and have a conversation about this area being residential or not? Because it is residential. If you come there and see it and look around, you can make your own opinion. The closest dwellings to the site are
But Jared,
residential houses.
Can I just real quick? I'll concede right now it's in a residential area.
Yes.
But what I'm telling you, and what I've said before is, this is maybe a technicality, but it is surrounding a residential area.
Yes.
That piece of property is in
ROB.
the ROB.
I
right?
understand.
Can we so
Yes.
there's no. If you want me to
No.
have a meeting, I'll have a meeting. But
No.
I've been to Ragland Drive.
Yes.
I agree.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But even it being ROB, I mean, we're putting it in a residential area. You just agree to it. It's not good for the neighbors. I mean, Councilman Johnson, if you would have a meeting there and talk to your constituents in the first ward, you'll see that it's very much opposed.
Yeah, but Jared, just respectfully, I don't want to. Go ahead, finish your thoughts, and then I'll speak because I don't want to take your time.
Go ahead, Joe.
There's nothing that this body can act on right now. We could all agree with you up here, especially where it is. It's up to the lawyers right now, and there's a couple things that could happen. Judge could say, yep, good to go, sorry. Judge could say it goes back to the land use board. My guess, if it goes back to the land use board, maybe they're not going to want to apply. Maybe land use board doesn't feel that way again, right? So there's nothing we could do immediately right now, even if we agree with you.
that.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay.
One thing on the budget, instead of spending a lot of money on the Rick Barry statue, who so many people are opposed to, and fresh banners, maybe a new banner for a better look, I don't know, they're not beat up or anything.
Yep.
When was the last time any member of the council took a walk around the high school, the outside walking cinder area?
I'd love for the high school to improve their facilities. Go to a Board of Ed meeting.
Whose responsibility is this?
Just
They're in the back room.
turn right around. And I was going to say, I'm really not trying to be a wise guy, but it's not our property.
Okay, so DPW or who gets to take care of this?
They're janitorial staff, not us. Feels good to pass the buck on this one.
You know, because it's just, I used to know people that used to walk, we all used to walk up there. I was an avid runner walker for years.
Yep.
Nobody goes up there no more. You got stones, the cinders, there's ditches, gullies, you could break your ankle. I mean, that's something good for the town. I understand.
I'm trying to be nice to the Board of Ed, so I'm not going to comment, but
I want to be nice to them too.
They're right down there.
Just, that's some money we could spend that's good for the town. Don't you
100%.
think?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep,
All right.
yep.
Very good.
And while we're talking about there's one over there too. There's 4. You guys might have a legal meeting at this point. You might have to notice this, breaking a sunshine law. And just for the record, our slice of the budget is so measly. We're around 30%. Those Board of Ed guys, that's like 40. There's a lot of budget discussion here. Go talk to them about their half.
53%.
53%. Woof-ah. I'm just... Yes, next one. Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer McCool, 415 Filbert. So I understand the issue about the sewer.
Yep.
I just want to know, instead of doubling our bill,
Yep.
what other thoughts have been put into place to either cut expenses from other areas, to not put a $150,000 statue on apparently some guy who I don't know, but take funds from elsewhere? Because what you're doing is you're penalizing present and future Roselle Park residents on an issue that happened in the past, right? So we weren't a part of that. And yes, I understand we're still kind of quote unquote benefiting from using Elizabeth, but you're penalizing us instead of maybe cutting from other places. So just was wondering what else was thought into that instead of doubling the bill.
Yeah, so just a couple things. There are a lot of things that are out of our control there, right? And I hate to keep passing the buck, but we don't just plug into Elizabeth, we plug into a lot. We plug into there's an Essex County Joint Commission that we plug into that, we're one vote of how many people are on that board, Joe? 11, right? So they set fees that we have to pay, right? So there's part of that in there. Also, I know this is a technicality, but you're talking about two pockets of money, right? So one is the borough's money, what we do year over year with capital money. The other is the sewer utility, right? So like the stuff we spend on the borough side is like updating the parks, doing the roads, right? So,
but potentially taking a cut from all of that to help fund this sewer bill, because we all have bills to pay, right? So
totally agree. But just the one thing I want to say there is, how much money are we spending in capital projects this year? Ballpark, 4 million?
The total number's 4 million, but what we actually issue in debt is 1.8.
Yeah. So we may disagree on whether or not $150,000 is right. And I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't be, I can tell you why I think it's worth it, right? For notoriety of the town, for placemaking, for giving people a reason to look and stop and say, what's going on here? This is interesting. We could disagree on that all day. But in the grand scheme of things, a bulk of what we're spending in that $4 to $5 million, look, you could say we can cut it, but the roads that we're doing, those people who are getting the roads done, they wouldn't be super happy. Acker Park is in desperate need of repair. I don't think those people would be super happy. So yeah, could we tighten the belt elsewhere? 100%. And by the way, I don't say this proudly, but I don't think there's been a mayor since I've been here in Roselle Park that's fired as many people as I have, right? I mean, the first year I got here, we cut $500,000 from the budget by outsourcing our police dispatch, right? These are the things that we do to try and tighten the belt. I agree with you, it's not an insubstantial amount of money, but to rectify this, we're talking about a $20 to, $25 million project. And even if we were just to say, which by the way, the Rick Barry Paz statue is not purchased yet, but even if we were to say we were to change our mind, without sounding callous, it is a drop in the bucket.
Understand, but it just seems like the increase in the sewer bill is just passing the buck to the residents. And we're funding all of the taxes, right? So instead of just saying, why don't we take a portion of some other things to help offset the cost of it? You've just doubled our bill. I just was wondering if there's any thought into pulling a little bit from each one of the other projects instead of just allowing the taxpayers to take the brunt.
So we have another idea actually that could solve this, right? It wouldn't come to fruition until next year. So, and by the way, this is not something we decide, right? So this goes to a public vote. So we own our own sewer system, right? And there are a lot of entities like American Water that would like to purchase this, right? So next year, what we could do is sell it to the highest, your time's up, but I think this is an important thing to say, right? Talking to everybody here. So we could put our sewer system up for sale, right? And what that would entail is we do a study, mayor and council decides if we put it to a referendum, and then it goes to a public referendum whether or not to sell that. Now, if we were to sell that, there's two good things that would come out of that, right? First off, we would receive money for it because American Water says, okay, we're going to have this for the next 200 years, for however long the United States of America and the borough of Roselle Park is going to exist, hopefully forever. God bless America. But they will pay us, could be $10 million, could be $20 million, so they'll give us an upfront payment. We can do whatever we want with it. We could buy 1,000 Rick Barry statues. I'm kidding. But also, these issues that we're having would get passed over to American Water and would be part of your water bill and would be consumed as part of the big American Water Board versus just Roselle Park. And the only reason we didn't do that earlier, candidly, is because you're not allowed to sell it with a lawsuit looming. So we had to settle the lawsuit to do this. So I hear your point. We have, I think, better ways to solve it and alleviate the problem wholesale without taking a bit from here, taking a bit from here, taking a bit from here. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. Thank you.
Yep. I'm sorry. We can talk to me after. I'll stick around.
You should mention marijuana.
Gee, well, you want to mention marijuana? Please don't. I'm tired of talking about it. Marijuana, Bill.
I'm not talking about marijuana.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill Cross at 412 Galloping Hill Road. Back in December, I had asked if we could get an update on how the pilot program taxes are working on the apartments that are already open.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I was not able to come here for about 3 months.
Yep.
If I understand correctly, once they reach 100% occupancy, they pay 100% of whatever the tax bill would be. And I was just wondering if we could get an update on that, if we know it, and the pilot taxes that are being paid.
Yep.
That includes both property taxes and school?
Yep. So I can answer. Do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I can go.
That's it.
I can go to town on this, right? so just to be clear, I'd like to remind everybody. So there are 3 major projects along Westfield Avenue.
Yep.
One of them was a lawsuit stemming from 2009. The only one that we're collecting revenue from Meridia, which I don't love, the first one in particular, got passed before me. That's the only one we're collecting revenue on. So we collect land revenue, the existing revenue from all of them, right? The pilot is applied to the increased value there, right? So the improvement, right? So let's just say, am I doing all right?
You're good.
Okay, got it. So let's just say, I think the taxes on Sullivan Chevrolet, for example, are about $60,000. We keep collecting that. Whatever the increase is, when it opens, we'll start collecting the money for. So to answer your question in a kind of long-winded way, we won't start collecting money on those improvements until the new ones open up.
Right.
CO issues.
Till the CO issues. On the existing one, Ken, what are we seeing about a year in the first development? Ballpark.
On the 240 and 250, we'll see this year about 546,000 pilot money.
Yeah, which is, look, we can talk about overdevelopment. Again, I don't love that project. The mayor here saying I would have done something different there. You guys wanted a Trader Joe's, I would have put a Trader Joe's there, right? Whatever, before my time. Part of the reason why I ran, actually. The fact that we got that much money from them, taxes weren't great this year, but they weren't miserable. The fact that we got that windfall is the reason why we kept it in check, you know, so.
That was it. Just wanted to clarify that taxes were being spread accordingly between town and school, because you read Facebook, you see the comments out there.
The schools do get a lower cut of it, right? And I again, it's not something philosophically I love, but that's the way pilots are structured statewide. I think it's like, what, 7% or something like that?
The schools get their conventional split of the land taxes. On the pilot improvement, 95% goes to the municipality, 5% goes, 95% goes to the municipality, 5% goes to the county. However, the thing that everyone needs to keep in mind is the borough collects all taxes, right? You all come here and you get annoyed when you have to see Ken's face, right? Me too.
I get annoyed when
Me
I see
too.
Ken's face, yeah.
But however, the reality is when the school gives us a bill, or the county gives us a bill, or the library gives us a bill to pay for their tax levy, we issue the check. Whatever is short, the municipality is short, and we have to make up somehow. And we cobble it together somehow. But whatever the school needs to operate in terms of the size of their enrollment, the capital improvement, whatever they put in their tax levy, they get from the Borough of Roselle Park monthly.
Okay. And the first question, do you happen to know what their occupancy is? Are they up to full tax?
I think they only have like two apartments open.
They vary from 95 to 100% occupancy.
Traditionally, a building like that runs a 5% vacancy rate. Just think about who moves out by the time someone moves in. So there's always
there's some whole rollover.
You know, less than 5% will be vacant at any given time.
But it's packed, and people are beating down the doors for the other two, for better or worse.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. Mayor got a second win. Let's go. I'm getting laughs out of Frank tonight. I'm getting compliments out of Frank tonight. It feels good. Come to every meeting.
I think I might.
I appreciate that.
In fact, I might be a fixture of it.
You might be. You got to wait a couple years. You got to wait a couple years. All right, Milt, go.
According to my neighbors.
You got to wait a couple years to run. Go.
Okay.
Milt, go.
I'm going to go back to my favorite subject for tonight. Milt Woodruff.
You got to do your name and address
Bedford
one more time
Avenue.
for the record.
Bedford Avenue.
Yep.
Roselle Park. Milt Woodruff.
Yep.
we've had Breakwater, the medical site.
Yep.
On Westfield Avenue for, what, about a year and a half?
I think it's been longer than that. I think it's been about 2. But
Well, 2 years.
whatever, round up, let's call it 2.
No, we licensed that facility, right?
What do you mean?
We do not issue a local license for medical cannabis. We cannot.
No, yeah, it's a state license.
But they handle hazardous drugs.
I mean, if you consider cannabis hazardous, then
Right now, marijuana is considered a hazardous drug.
it's getting classified differently federally, but sure.
Not yet, but for the last year and a half, last 2 years.
I don't know where you're going with this, but it's a medical facility and it's licensed by the state. To answer
We
your
get
question.
no reports?
No.
No, why not?
The license for that facility is issued directly by the state. So that's who they report to.
And we don't get a copy of that?
No. The only way we can get a copy for it is if we tax them extra, which we don't because it's medical products, and I feel like that would be unethical.
It might make sense that we do, though. But in any event,
Okay.
I also have an issue with the land use board.
Okay.
And the property at 1 East Westfield Avenue.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about wanting some spots on the municipal lot.
There'd be 20 spots, up to 20 spots if they like.
And right
If
now,
it's approved.
according to the regulation.
Yep.
They would need at least 35 spots.
Yeah, the land use board
And
would
a
have
minimum.
to grant a variance.
And a
Grant variances
minimum.
happen.
Well, that's a minimum, not a maximum.
Milt, I'm not arguing with you. This happens all the time. The land use board can vote yes or no to a variance. That's how these things happen.
Well, there are at least 2 schools, a church, and a youth center within the restricted area.
Yep.
I don't understand how that's going to happen.
So what happens is that all that information gets provided to the land use board, and they, in their jurisdiction, make a determination as to whether or not, within their powers, they want to issue an approval by way of variance.
And they could agree with you. They could say it's too close to a school. I don't know.
That would really be very nice. Do we have any idea what your hours are going to be?
Just so you understand, you can't stop someone from filing the application, right? So they file the application, and the board considers those things, and then makes a decision as to whether or not to grant it. But you can't just tell someone, hey, you're going to lose, don't file.
The mayor can't make executive action and say,
Believe it or not, I understand that.
Okay.
Do we know what their hours are going to be?
no idea.
That would be part of the application they would have to put in.
How many employees?
I can't
Same
speculate.
idea. All right. I do have one other question that pertains to the last budget when you wanted to raise $1.6 million in bonds.
Yes.
Despite the fact we already owe roughly $16 million already, which we pay down.
So, Milt, would you like us to stop doing road work? Is that what would you stop? I'm curious.
What would I stop?
Outside of the Rick Barry statue, because that's $150K.
That certainly would be one.
Okay.
And also the Boy Scout park that's down there.
That's funded mostly via grants, so call it $40K you cut from the
But
budget.
still. And you're also going to put how much money into Acker Park?
Acker Park is played completely by the state.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It certainly doesn't seem to most of the folks.
We have
In any event,
$1.5 million we're getting in direct aid from the state on
The
that.
other thing that strikes a lot of people is that it seems like, according to your budget, you have a $2 million surplus.
Again, Milt, your time's up, but it is.
I realize that.
It is. Ken, and please, I'll reiterate this till the end of days. It is good practice. We have a good credit rating because we have a surplus, which means when we need to borrow money, we borrow it cheaper. Every town has a surplus. Every town.
Could I just say, I want to make it, but Mr. Woodruff, I really want to make it clear, because I know this is the second time you've come up and said this. We are using $2 million in surplus toward the budget, not $2 million sitting in the vault in the finance department. There's $2 million dedicated in the budget to offset the tax burden that gets passed on to residents. Doesn't make the tax burden non-existent, but that's not money we're keeping for a rainy day. That's money we're using.
What is it being invested in?
It's being used to pay for operational budget, to
Pay the cops, pay DPW.
Apparently you do have.
Yeah, Mill, I'm
some
sorry,
money left
you
over.
can't comment anymore, but feel free to elaborate, Joe.
So what they're saying is, at the end of 2024, there was a surplus. That surplus from 2024 gets used in 2025 to offset what's needed. The surplus that you're talking about that gets created in 2025 gets used in 2026. You always want money in the bank just in case.
I'd like to have $2 million as a rainy day fund.
Listen to me, when you don't need it,
You use it for the next year. Thank you. Sorry, Milt, but that's it. Would anybody else like to come up and speak?
Okay.
Come on up, George.
So moved. Just practicing for next year.
Keep on practicing.
All right. Real quick. Municipal Land Use Board, membership terms, 40-101.
Yes.
Number 7 states that no member of the Municipal Land Use Board shall be permitted to act on any manner in which he or she has either directly or indirectly any personal or financial interest.
Yep.
Any member other than a Class 1 member, after a public hearing, if requested, may be removed by the governing body. Did you vote at the Land Use Board meeting for the dispensary on 441 Westfield Ave?
Yes, I did.
Well, you got a $2,500 donation from one of the owners of that, and another $2,500 donation in July.
Yep.
I'm not an attorney, but doesn't that go against the Land Use Board membership terms?
No, it's personal interest, right? So if I owned part of that, then I'd be conflicted
It
out.
says indirectly or directly.
Right. So if I was a silent partner and I received 5% of their revenue, then I would not be able to vote on it.
Permitted to act in any matter in which he or she has any indirectly or indirectly, any personal or financial interest.
Right. So
Or financial
campaign finances are not personal finances.
No, it says any personal or financial
So,
interest.
sir, I understand what you're reading, but what you're trying to equate it to is not what it equates to.
Okay.
What the mayor stated is absolutely correct. If he,
Well, I'm not an attorney, but that seems to me like a little conflict of
I
interest.
understand, but unfortunately, the name tag in front says I am.
No worries. Well, being that we're speaking, last time we spoke, you said that there was no evidence that marijuana dispensaries increase crime. I've got about 5 studies here in front of me. One done by John Jay College, one done by the School of Public Affairs, showing that from Denver, from Colorado, different cities in Colorado, being that they established this in 2014, showing that crime does go up in Colorado. And these are studies that have been done for 3 to 5 years.
So I can't speak to Colorado, but I can give you another study that was done by Rutgers since 2021, which shows that every municipality that has legalized marijuana has increased in property value higher than the median.
How long has this been studied?
Since 2021.
No, I'm looking at a 5-year study.
I'm looking at a New Jersey study.
A 5-year study.
I'm looking at a New Jersey study.
For how long?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that people would rather live next to a dispensary than
What I'm telling you, the data shows is that property values rise higher than the average. And oh, by the way, I'd like to add that over that time, since I've been mayor, Roselle Park property values have been rising in the top 10, but that's fine. But higher than the rest of the state of New Jersey.
Not at all, because Kenilworth has $1 million properties selling left and right.
I will show you. I mean, I know this is your thing, but I'll just show you. I'll show you the numbers. It's
I
fine.
haven't even touched the $1 million.
Got it. Okay, keep it
Kenilworth
going.
has sold about 3 in the last
Keep it going,
3
George.
months.
Yep, let's go.
All right, we're on the border of Elizabeth.
Yep.
Elizabeth has a crime rate that's higher than 92% of the state's cities and towns of all sizes.
Yep.
So.
Do you want to build a wall?
Logically, no, not a wall. Logically, if we have something on the border.
Sure.
That's going to invite people from Elizabeth.
Yep.
Of the border.
Yep.
You don't think it's going to increase crime? You said we're short cops already as it is, right?
No, what I said is I think we'd be prudent to hire cops.
No, we said we need more cops. We have 32 and we could
Yeah,
definitely need
yeah,
more.
we could use more. Yeah, whatever. It's whatever. Yeah,
You said we need more.
we have 34. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'd like to hire more cops. I'd feel better if we had more cops.
So we're short cops.
I mean, look, Dowling's just opened up. I mean, do you think Elizabeth? I know Dowling's is a cop bar. We have every day people from Elizabeth go to Dowling's, pre and after. Do you want me to shut down Dowling's? What do you want me to do, George?
Dowling's has had no issues,
Okay.
all right? And second of
You're
all-
out of time. Sorry, George.
All right.
Isabella Tabares, 47 East Westfield Avenue.
Yes.
It won't be as intense as that,
Sure.
unfortunately. So the dispensary, one of them is going to be, I'm assuming, Wells Fargo.
Yep.
You guys said that's downtown, which it is,
Yep.
but there are families that live near there, such as mine.
Yep.
I actually just moved back to Roselle Park to live with my mother. She's on 47, so that's 3 houses down.
Yep.
We spend a lot of our time on our backyard with our 2 dogs
Yep.
and just laying around in our hammock, hanging out.
Yep.
I can't imagine it not smelling like marijuana. We get really bad headaches from that, so.
It smells like marijuana on Chestnut Street already. I just want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have actually,
Yep.
I won't say, but yes, we have a neighbor that does smoke it, and when they
Yep.
do, we have to come inside.
Yep.
But it's not an ongoing thing.
Yep.
So if this was open, it'd probably be, I'm assuming, 10 hours a day that's open, I don't know, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So then we're gonna have to deal with that. So I understand it is downtown.
Yep.
But there are families next to that
Yep.
that you guys should take into consideration.
Yep.
This is my first board meeting, so I actually feel bad being up here, because I should have been in the previous ones back in
All
November.
good. Thank you for coming.
Of course, and
Yep.
I will continue to come, but obviously I wasn't living here in November, but I feel like you guys could have done a better job on letting people know what was going on. I understand you guys did the legal part and whatnot, but we didn't know until yesterday when we received something in the mail.
Sure.
So I think for future, you guys should have reached out a better way. And also, Roselle Park is a small town. I don't understand why there's going to be 3 dispensaries when somebody can just go to Route 22, go somewhere else. But such a small town, like we can't even fix the movie theater. I also grew up
ma'am,
here.
we don't own the movie theater,
That's
right?
fine, whatever it may be. There's so many other things that could be done in Roselle Park
Yep.
besides these 3.
Yep.
And I don't know who voted. It doesn't matter. It's already done, like you said. There's
Sure.
nothing much we can do.
There is. You should come to the land use
Yeah,
board
and I
meeting.
will be on
Yep.
June 17th.
17th, yep.
Right, exactly. I'll be here. But what I'm saying is that I don't understand why we would have, or whoever voted, why we would have voted in such a small town to have 3 dispensaries.
Yeah, so there's a couple things I want to say, and I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, right? So first off, there is no consumption allowed on site there, right? Now,
But do you think people are going to follow the rules?
yes.
I doubt it. because
I mean, if they don't, there's going to be problems, and they'll get their license revoked, right? So that's one
what
thing.
you're saying now, but I really hope that's what happens.
But regardless, this is what I want. I want you to be prepared for. If it is not marijuana there, and I want everybody who lives in that section to understand this, the downtown is rightfully going through a massive transformation.
And that's fine, and it could be anything else, but something that is not marijuana. I don't know, what do you say, a Trader Joe's, whatever it may be, but it doesn't have to be something that I have to smell. Like, you guys compare it to like liquor. Liquor, if somebody drinks a beer or liquor, it's not in my face. And
But it could
I'm
be
not
loud.
around it. Yes, but that doesn't mean that I'm smelling something that's gonna affect my health, because it does really bother me and my family.
So my question would be, or my statement would be, this could fail on the 17th, and if it fails on the 17th, so be it, guys. Let me finish. People can smoke around you. Your neighbors can smoke.
But it's gonna increase it.
What would lead you to believe that?
Because at least
If you're-
you
so
believe
you
it,
said
that
your neighbor-
if there's
Your
a
neighbor-
dispensary, I'm pretty sure that people are going in there to buy weed, correct?
So what you're telling me is, if your neighbor smokes weed now, right?
But that's once in a while, right? But
Okay.
if there's a dispensary, I'm assuming people are gonna walk out, they're not gonna follow the rules. Crime rate is gonna increase. I'm like 90% sure of that. First of all, there's a lot of studies, and second of all, it's that's what's gonna happen. Whatever you
don't.
guys voted, yes, it is. There are studies, and first of all, it's not good for people's health. So why are we putting in something in our small, tiny town that's
Yep.
gonna affect our population?
Again, I disagree with you on most of these fronts.
And you can, and that's exactly why we're here.
That's fine. That's why these are public meetings. Thank you.
She's asking if I can translate.
Yeah, sure, yep.
¿Cómo se siente? Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
¿Ustedes tienen hijos?
Su nombre
She has kids.
Mi nombre es Norma.
Norma,
Vivo en la 43 de la East Westfield Avenue.
43 East Westfield Avenue.
¿Ustedes tienen niños?
Do you have kids? Yes. Sí, sorry.
¿Es justo abrir 3 tiendas de marihuana en un pueblo
Is it correct to
tan
open
bello que era?
is it
Ahora
correct?
solo se huele a droga?
Is it correct to open 3 dispensaries in such a beautiful town and now that they're going to smell that?
¿Es justo que ustedes
Is
den
it-
licencia?
Is it just to give licenses for that?
My view is, and you could translate this, I have no issue with it, which is why I supported it.
Que no tiene problema y por eso lo soportó.
Usted no tiene problema, pero nosotros sí.
None.
You don't have an issue, but we do. We have kids. We don't want zombies. We want healthy kids.
Queremos más programas.
We want more programs in schools,
Que haya niños
sports,
saludables.
kids, healthy kids,
We have all
not
these
kids
things.
unhealthy.
Understood.
Vivo hace 18
I live
años.
here 18 years.
Yo recién vine, era
When
un
I
pueblo
first
muy-
started, when I first got here, it was a
Yo
beautiful
venía de
town.
trabajar a las 2 de la mañana.
When I came to work from work at 2 a.m.,
Una gran población.
we're a wonderful
Somos gente
population.
trabajadora, gente
We work hard, family.
Somos gente de la droga. No
We
somos
don't like
gente
drugs. We don't
de la
do
calle.
drugs. We're not from the street. We want a town that we had before, not the one now, where you go outside
I got
and
the
you can smell the drugs.
I got the translation.
Oh.
My Spanish isn't that bad.
I'm struggling.
It's not that bad, yeah. No,
Usted no tiene problemas, nosotros sí. Yo tengo 2 niños y que ellos necesitan vivir una vida sana, no apercibiendo marihuana.
ma'am, all I would say to that is I can't speak Spanish, but I understood what you said. I understand your fears. I think a lot of the same issues, and we can disagree on this. I think a lot of the same issues that you're talking about, we also face with alcohol. And we have,
Me encanta que hable español y que entienda español.
Okay, yeah.
Para yo poder expresar lo que yo siento.
Yeah.
Porque yo no puedo salir a mi yarda. Los niños
got it.
aperciben droga. No
Yeah.
puedo abrir la puerta de mi casa porque la droga se penetra en mi casa.
but you're not allowed to buy it unless you're 21.
Pero no lo puede comprar si no tiene 21. 18.
Pero sin embargo, hay jóvenes que están en el parking lot.
You are not allowed to buy it unless you're 21, and just like a liquor store, if anybody's purchasing it and giving it to kids, we can revoke their license.
Pero si ustedes aprueban licencias para droga, los niños, los jóvenes están más vulnerables. ¿Qué pueblo vamos a tener en el futuro?
I agree, but I think, again, a lot of these issues, again, drugs, good or bad or indifferent, especially marijuana, if kids are going to want drugs, they can go to neighboring towns, they can buy it off the street. I agree, but a lot of those dangers exist whether we're going to have the store or not. And maybe you're right, maybe it is easier access, but we have rules and regulations that you have to be 21 to buy it, and that's why there's people at the front door checking ID.
Siempre hay gente buscando ID de los niños para ver qué edad tienen.
Sí, pero si tenemos un buen equipo, unos buenos representantes del pueblo, se debe parar ese tipo de drogas. En vez de dar licencia para drogas y buscar que haya como más ingreso mediante drogas, debiéramos buscar mejorar las escuelas, haber más programas, haber más deporte, arquitectura,
Yep.
dibujo, pintura.
But we
Para
offer,
el verano. No lo hay.
respectfully, we offer all these things. We offer after-school programs at the Roselle Park Youth Center. Sorry?
Cuando uno lo quiere poner en un programa a un niño, aquí tenemos que tener mucho dinero. Porque hay que pagar mucho dinero. Y no tienen unos programas gratuitos para los niños.
I can just say we keep investing in every year. We opened up the Anthony Signorello Youth Center. We have after-school programs at the library. We do offer a lot for kids. We're redoing the park.
Ay, pero nosotros tenemos que pagar porque yo he querido poner a mis hijos y siempre
I'm sorry.
he sido
Okay, ya se
muy
apagó.
expensive.
Oh. There's no time left. I appreciate your input, and we're hearing. Please tell her to come again on the 17th.
Que venga el día 17.
Sí, pero
That's when the decision will be made.
algo por los niños, los jóvenes, porque hay mucho suicidio, mucho niño que no está por buenos caminos.
I
Y es
appreciate it.
gracias
I understand your fear.
al aporte de ustedes.
But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I got like 90% of that. I'm pretty proud of my Spanish understanding. I was. It was easier just to try and figure it out. Thank you, though. And again, I hear you guys. Come the 17th. That's when the decision is going to get made. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You won't hear from it again. Yes.
Hannah Antonson, Bender Avenue.
Yep.
Just as you stated on the 17th, that's when the decision's going to be made.
Yep.
So if they come to be heard that night, it's too late. Will any council member here sponsor a town hall and give notice to the people before the decision is made? So they explain about, for Botero, wanting to lease 20 municipal spaces in Lot 1
Yes.
to a building that has no contiguous connection.
Yep.
It's also too close to several schools.
Yep.
A church, a park.
Yep.
And another cannabis location, which is Breakwater.
Yep.
The other thing I'd like to distinguish is the people of New Jersey passed a referendum to legalize marijuana so people don't suffer criminal penalties. That's not the same as saying we want a dispensary on every corner.
Okay.
Will any council member here
I just want to
say that
just
they
for the
want to have a speaking
Mayor,
time
I just
before
let me,
the 17th?
Councilman, please. Wherever you guys want to meet, I know there's a concerted effort to talk about this. I'm not going to subject the entire land use board there. I am a voting member of the land use board. You guys tell me what time you want to do it. I'll be there. Tell me where you want to be there. I'll make it happen.
Will any council member sponsor this to reach out to the public and set a date for before
Ma'am,
voting on the
tell me
17th?
what date you want to do it. I'll be there. I'm the mayor. I'll be there.
I'm asking for council sponsorship.
I have a question for you. Where you folks sent out notices, right? What else more do you want to do? Wait, let me finish.
Okay.
Where are the people tonight?
Well,
So you've been Facebook. I'm 61 years old. I don't do Facebook. It's immature and whatever. Come up and talk. Keyboard warriors are immature. Okay. You've been posters. You've been doing this and that.
I'll take that.
You don't have the people here tonight. Why do we want to do another version? Let them come. Keep doing your posting and all that
But
stuff.
Councilman, I'm happy to.
the more
Mayor, let me finish.
the more the outreach is done, the more people show up.
I'll tell you what.
Well, let me finish.
17th is
I'll
too
give you an extra. I have gotten more positives than negatives. Okay?
17th.
More positive than negatives. And we could talk all day how many years you've lived in this town. I've been here 61 years. More positives.
As for the 20 proposed spaces,
You're not listening.
Let her. It's her time, Councilman. It's her
my
time. It's her time.
the new apartment buildings have not yet opened. What about all the other businesses on Chestnut Street?
Just real quick, I'd like to, so we have a recent count. So we have 204 spaces in the downtown and, 210. And for the new apartments, they have their own parking for their own buildings.
But not for their guests.
Let me finish. They also have required parking for their restaurants and commercial space. And in addition to that, they're giving us, the town, another 50 spaces. So if you're doing the math, let's just say hypothetically it passes and 20 spaces are dedicated, then we're still getting net 30 new spaces in the equation that you're saying.
Leasing 20 municipal spaces because the dispensary can't open without them is not a net gain of spaces. Another thing is, I was at the May 8th DRC meeting, and Mr. Casillas kept saying, I'm a member of the Land Use Board, I can't speak to this, but do this, and this to fix your application, such as proposing a special zone for them to drop off their
That's what the DRC meeting is for. We do that for every, we do that for every
I'm not
application.
supposed to say anything, but do this, watch out for this, what about this, we need to do this.
Can't speak on how he's going to vote on it.
Well, that's just it. Inviting us to wait to the 17th is too late.
Ma'am, I'm happy to talk to you after. If you want me to show up to a meeting and you can invite
do.
whoever you want, I will be here. I'll let you use the Casano Center or Borough Hall. We'll make it a townwide event. I'm happy to defend it and speak my piece to anybody who wants to come.
There's more notice of an Easter egg hunt than proposed dispensaries.
Understood. Unfortunately, you're out of time. Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and speak? Oh, almost. Okay, it's all right.
I'm going to translate for her.
Sure. If you speak slowly, I can probably get it.
Yeah, but everybody else can understand.
Okay,
so.
sure. Got
Good
that
evening.
one. That's an easy one.
Soy Maribel Cantero,
I'm Maribel Cantero,
Mucho gusto.
206 Chestnut Street,
206 Chestnut Street,
the business.
a business.
¿Por qué quieren aceptar que pongan un dispensador de marihuana?
Why do you want to accept a dispensary that sells marijuana?
Because the building that is in question has been empty for 12 years, and they're willing to invest in it and beautify it.
¿Y por qué no un cine?
Why not a movie theater or any business?
The buildings are available, and they're privately owned. We do not pick what goes there. People come and apply to what they want to do there, and we say yes or no.
Entonces es más importante la marihuana.
But marijuana is more important?
Marijuana is not more or less important. It is something, but just let me finish, please. It is something that is allowed and something that they're requesting to use, and it is something that the land use board can say yes or no to. I'm not going to make a value judgment whether one's more important than the other.
Ustedes tienen hijos,
You guys have kids.
otros tienen nietos. ¿cierto?
Others have nephews, grandkids.
Hay personas de tercera edad.
They're third generation.
Tengo hijos.
I have kids.
Trabajo 6 de la mañana en esa lavandería.
I work from 6 a.m.
Yo salgo, abro las puertas y me siento afuera a comer un helado.
I walk out, I open the door, I eat an ice cream or
Y
bread,
muchas veces huele a marihuana.
and many times it smells like weed.
Nunca he fumado.
I've never smoked.
Y a mis hijos les enseño que respeten a todas las personas.
And I teach my kids to respect everyone,
No importa el color o
Doesn't
la
matter.
nacionalidad.
no matter the color or the race or the nationality.
No es bueno ni para mí, ni para mis clientes, ni para mis hijos.
It's
que
not good
tengan
for me, my
ese
clients,
aroma.
or my kids to have that smell.
Un momento.
Oh, please,
Antes,
Before,
Chestnut Street
Chestnut Street
tenía macetas grandes,
had big pots
árboles,
for flowers,
bancas.
trees, benches.
Las personas podían llegar y sentarse y ver el atardecer.
People can come, sit, and enjoy
Ahora nada,
sunset. Now nothing.
solo caminan
Now
y
just
se
walk.
pasan. Espera,
I'm listening.
personas de tercera edad
The people that are older
van caminando lento.
walk real slow.
Tú vas a llegar a donde están ellos. Yo voy a llegar a donde están ellos.
We're all going to get to where they're at.
¿A ti te gustaría que tus hijos estén cerca de una persona que fuma?
Would you be okay with your kids being close to somebody that smokes weed?
Just like liquor, I would teach my kids and I would talk to my kids about the dangers of it, just like anything else. Because whether or not, and we could disagree on this, whether or not we open up a store for marijuana in the downtown, it exists in this world and it exists in this state.
Ok, entonces respeta esa silla.
Respect the chair.
Respeta a las personas que están aquí.
Respect the people that are here.
Todos venimos a Roselle Park y si dice la policía, siéntate, me siento.
We all come to Roselle Park, and if the police says sit down, we
Si
all
dice,
sit.
Párate,
If
párate.
they say stand, we stand.
Limpia, limpia.
Clean, we
Haz
clean.
esto, haz esto.
Do this, we do that.
Los hispanos tratamos de hacer lo
Hispanics
mejor en este pueblo.
try to do the best in this town.
Agreed.
Quieres respeto.
You want
Yo
respect.
también.
So do I.
Yo digo que trato de mejorar.
And if I say that I try to better the neighborhood,
Pueden hacer lo mismo ustedes.
you guys can do the same.
I appreciate that. And I just want to let you know, again, so I understand a lot of the things you're asking for. I want these new businesses in town. Look, would I love to have a lovely steak restaurant there? 100%. The fact of the matter is, do you understand? More or less? Okay, perfect. It's been empty for many, many years. And while I agree with you, Chestnut Street has changed. It's changed for the worse over many, many years, and we have been trying to improve it. I hope you see, we spent $1 million making the sidewalks nice and new. We planted new trees. We are going to put, new vases again. We do that every year. We put up the hometown heroes. We are investing in the downtown. But while I understand all of your points, what is also bad for a town is empty stores. It's not good. It looks empty, it looks run down, it looks dilapidated, and that is what I worry about. But again, I want to say this once again for the record. This is up for a land use board vote on the 17th. It is up to them, and yes, I am one vote there. I think you guys probably know which way I feel, but it needs a majority there. If it does not get approved, it's done.
Tengo una última.
Yep.
One last question, or one last statement.
¿Por qué una estatua?
Why a statue?
It's a good question. I want to bring attention to the town, and what helps bring attention to the town are things that represent the town and show the town what our heritage is. Just like in Elizabeth, where there's an entire park named after Phil Rizzuto, we want to honor the people who come from Roselle Park and are historic people in Roselle Park, and also bring attention to the downtown.
¿Qué ha hecho esa estatua o esa persona que van a poner? ¿Qué ha contribuido a Roselle Park?
What has that person contributed to Roselle Park?
Notoriety.
So is that it?
That's a pretty big thing. He's a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry, you're out of time.
I know.
Okay.
Listen.
Yes.
En la ventana de la lavandería tengo un letrero. El tamaño es este.
I have a board at the front of my laundromat.
Yep.
A little
Y tiene
sign,
luces alrededor.
and it has lights around it.
Yep.
Y una ocasión,
On one occasion, one person
tiene que ser de aquí, llegó y me dijo,
from the town,
tienes que apagar
you have to turn that off
porque va a distraer a todos los
because
que
you're
van
going to
manejando.
distract everyone that's driving.
I don't know who said that, but
Finish.
oh, I mean, you are out of time. You are out of time.
¿Sabes qué? La vecina de al lado
The person
tiene
next
toda
door
la ventana.
has the full window.
I did not know about this till now. I'll get it addressed.
No, pero puedes hacerlo ahora.
We'll take care of
How
it.
you can
Los
do it.
cambios ahora.
Can we talk
How you can
afterwards?
make changes.
I understand, but we're really out of time. I want to be respectful. I'm happy to talk about your window.
You need to speak Spanish.
Okay, lo siento.
Tenemos niños. Y a ti no te importa, nosotros sí.
Okay, would anybody else like to come up and speak? You may do so now. Okay, I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the session on, what was it, any item? Public session on any item?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no further closed session items. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.